家事も中途半端で、自分のことしか考えない無能な嫁で困るわ。嫁のくせに家事を怠けるな。もともと一家揃って義実家は人使いが荒い。それでも出産直後の私をこき使う？こんな人たちを家族と呼べるのだろうか。そんな時、姉が義実家にやってきた。義実家の皆さん、うちの姉は強いわよ。それに、お土産も持ってきてくれる。私は坂本双葉、34歳。小さな旅行代理店の窓口として勤めている。双葉ちゃん、今日はお客さんももう来なさそうだし、もうすぐ定時だから上がっていいよ。娘ちゃんを迎えに行ってやりな。いいんですか？ありがとうございます。お言葉に甘えさせていただきます。私の勤める会社はアットホームな雰囲気で、子育てにも理解がある。だからこそ私はここに就職することに決めた。私が今の職場に就職したのは1年前。それまでは専業主婦をしていた。その前はというと、大学卒業後、大手の旅行代理店に就職した。28歳の時に友達の紹介で同い年の亮太と出会った。亮太は自動車整備士だった。話し上手で優しかった亮太とは30歳の時に結婚した。長男の亮太は実家での同居を希望してきた。今は元気な義両親もいつしか介護が必要になるかもしれない。そうなってから同居と言われるより最初から一緒に暮らした方がいいのかもしれない。じっくり考えた末に私は同居を受け入れた。結婚で舞い上がっていたための間違った判断ではなかったと思う。だが結果的にはこの人たちは外れも外れ、大外れだった。新婚直後、私はまだ仕事を続けていた。これから子供だって生まれるかもしれないし、できる時になるべく貯金をしたいと考えていたのだ。しかし、亮太の考えは違ったようだ。実家暮らしだと家賃もいらないし、夫婦で共働きだから生活的には結構楽だよな。今度家族みんなでハワイ旅行にでも行こうぜ。などと突然提案してきた。さらに義両親も浮かれた夫の話に乗り気で。やったー！ハワイ旅行なんて初めて。もちろん費用はそっち持ちね。と義母。は？ハワイか。もちろんホテルは高級ホテルなんだろうな。海外の安宿は信頼できんからな。と、義父まで言いたい放題。ってことだから、双葉、手配よろしく。と、予約をすべて私に任せてきた。ちなみに支払いに関しては、さすがに大人4人分のハワイ旅行となるとかなり費用がかかるわ。あなた、お父さんたちの分をお願いしていい？と言うと、は？独身だったんだからそれくらいの蓄えはあるだろう。もうお前はこの家の嫁なんだから、お前の蓄えはこの家の金。そこから旅行費用を出せ。と言われた。確かに家族にはなったが、いきなり嫁に大金を使わせるとは。あまりいい気はしなかったが、長い目で見れば家族の一員になるんだし、義両親もすでに行く気満々になっていた。独身時代の貯金をだいぶ削る、かなりの痛手となったが、これで義両親とも親睦を深められる。そう思っていた。私の期待はいきなり裏切られるのであった。旅行先でのエピソードにはこと書かない。おい、双葉、ホテルからの眺めがいまいちだぞ。俺はもっと高層階が良かったのに、部屋の位置までちゃんと確認しないなんて、この出来損ないが。ちょっと双葉さん、ここの店員にこの値段をもっと下げろって言って。これじゃあまるでぼったくりじゃない。似たようなものがいっぱいあるんだから交渉して。義父は宿泊先の文句をブツブツと言い、義母はブランドショップで値引きさせようとした。いや、高層階にすればそれなりの費用がかかるし、ブランドショップで値引きなんて普通はしないだろう。だが早速わかった。この義両親は何の根拠もなく世界の中心にいるつもりなのだ。結局、義父はずっと不機嫌で、義母も何も買えないわと不満たらたら。 文句を言われ続け、貯金は失い、踏んだり蹴ったりだ。ただ、この人たちには海外旅行のいろはがわからないのだろう。この時はそう思おうとした。しかし帰国後、変化が起きた。悪い方の。義両親は急に私に対して意地悪になったのだ。双葉、今日のおかずはどれもまずい。よくこんなのが作れたな。まるで家畜の餌じゃないか。すみません。玄関周りの掃除もちゃんとやって。お客様が来た時に散らかってたらみっともないでしょ？もう気が利かないわね。ああ、はい。私たち夫婦は共働きだが、なぜか私は義実家の家事まで全て任された。義父は公務員として働いているものの、義母は専業主婦だった。では、私たちが仕事に行っている間、義母が何をしているのかというと、家にご近所さんを呼んでは、長々と世間話をしたり、好きな K-POP アイドルのライブ DVD を見て歌っていた。ある日、ご近所さんが私に話しかけてきた。ちょっとあなた、一日中変な声で歌うのはやめて、迷惑よ。お母さんにも言ったけどやめてくれないって困っていたわよ。と、注意されたことがある。は？なんで私のせいにされているの？私じゃないのに。どうやら義母はご近所からクレームを受けると、恥ずかしいのか歌っているのは私だと言いふらしているようだった。私は夫に、ねえ、お母さんに変な歌声を私のせいにするのはやめてって言って。とお願いすると夫は、母さんだって歌いたい時もあるんだろ？歌わせてやれよ。違う。そういうことじゃなくて、歌うのはいいのよ。ただお母さんって音痴でしょ？それをご近所からクレームが来た時に私が歌っているって言うから、私が変な目で見られるのよ。別にいいじゃん。言いたい奴には言わせておけよ。つまらない話で俺のゲームの邪魔すんなって。と言って、スマホゲームに夢中になって、まるで話にならなかった。そして、この時の会話を義母に聞かれたのか、別の日。私は仕事から帰ってくるなり、義母に玄関前で水をかけられ、悲鳴を上げた。なんです？びしょ濡れになった私が顔を上げると、義母がにやりとしながら。玄関周りが汚れていたから水掃除をしていたの。ああ、音痴の誰かさんがしっかりと掃除しないせいね。いつも変な歌ばかり歌って、ご近所にも迷惑なのよ。と、ご近所に聞こえるような大声を出した。はあ？いくら音痴って言われたからって、ここまでする必要あるの？まったく子供じみたいじめだ。さらに義父までも私に。双葉、わしのシャツにアイロンをかけるのを忘れてるだろ。あと30分で出かけるから早くかけろ。と言って、シャツを私に向かってぶん投げてきた。朝は私も会社に行く準備があるのに、ただでさえ朝ごはんの用意に洗濯物を干すなど忙しいのに、ここに来てアイロンですって？お母さん、私ちょっと時間がないのでお願いしてもいいですか？と義母に聞けば、ちゃんと用意していないあなたが悪いんでしょ？ちゃんと自分ですべきことは自分でおやんなさい。と、涼しい顔で私の用意した朝ごはんを黙々と食べていた。はぁ？自分ですべきことって、義父の身支度は義父か義母がするものではないんですか？そして夫はというと、結婚前と変わらない生活を一人でのうのうと楽しんでいた。仕事が終わり、早く帰ってきたとしても、家事は一切しなかった。休日夫に、買い出しに付き合って、と言えば、やだよ。せっかくの休みなんだから休ませて。と言って自分はゲーム三昧。私も今日は休みなんですけど。双葉さん、お昼はまだ？早くしなさい。本当にあんたは容量が悪いんだから、使えない嫁ね。おい、茶はまだか。などと、休日も義両親に使われてばかり。私は一体いつ休めるのだろう。結婚して1年が経ち、私は妊娠した。妊娠初期は私はつわりでかなり苦しんだ。 ご飯の匂いを嗅いだだけでも辛かったので、お母さん、私、つわりがひどくて、しばらくの間ご飯作るのを代わってもらってもいいですかと頼んだ。すると義母は、はぁ？つわりですって？そんなの慣れれば大丈夫よ。ほら、ご飯の匂いでもしっかり嗅ぎなさい。そう言われて、茶碗に盛った白米を鼻先に押し付けられた。まるでご飯を使った拷問だ。やめてください。本当に無理なんです。私が口を押さえると、まあ、これぐらいで人にご飯作りを押し付けてくるなんて軟弱ね。私は全然平気だったけどね。こんなに弱っちいなんて。生まれてくる子は大丈夫なのかしら。それとも、ただ怠けたいだけなんじゃないの？よくもまあ、次から次へ悪態が続くものだ。妊娠初期の症状は人によって違うことも知らないのか。義母は大丈夫だったと言うけど、たまたま義母がそうだっただけで、つわりで苦しむ人は大勢いるのに。これにはかなり傷ついたので夫に相談した。ねえ、あなた、私妊娠初期の症状が重いみたいなの。つわりがひどいから、お母さんに協力してほしいんだけど、辛さを分かってもらえなくて、あなたからもお願いしてもらえないかしら。ああ、俺もさっき母さんから聞いたよ。なんでもお前が家事を怠けようとしているって。はぁ？ちょっと、別に私は怠けようとしているんじゃなくて、本当に体調が辛いの。え？でもさ、別に病気じゃないんでしょ？世の中のお母さんは全員経験してるわけでしょ？じゃあ大丈夫じゃん。ってことで、いつも通りうまくやってよ。はぁ？誰も分かってくれないので、仕方なく時短で家事が終わるように努力した。しかし、やだ、双葉さんたら、また簡単なものばかり作って、焼くだけとか、和えるだけとか、ちょっと怠け癖がついてきたようね。ってことで、やり直し。と、義母は私が頑張って用意した料理をゴミ箱にポイ捨てした。もっと食べ応えがあるものをちゃんと用意なさい。こうして私は妊娠中もこき使われた。でも、そんなこと生まれてくる子には関係ない。生まれてくる子供用のグッズは夫とちゃんと話し合って必要なものを揃えたかった。しかし、育児雑誌を開いて夫に見せても、俺わかんないから全部任せる。帰ってきたのはこの返答だけ。わからないのは私も一緒だというのに、この人には親になる実感が全くないようだ。改めて夫も頼りにできないと分かった。妊娠後期に入り、私は仕事を辞めることにした。これについては、義両親や夫には最初は反対された。双葉さん、仕事辞めると我が家の稼ぎが減るじゃない。産んだらすぐに復帰しなさいよ。俺だってもうすぐ定年退職なんだし、お前は仕事を続けろ。専業主婦になって楽するつもりだろ。いいよな、女はすぐに楽できて。など、口々に言ってきた。私だって以前は辞める気なんてなかった。できれば産休、育休を取ってまた好きな仕事に戻りたかった。でも、この家にいたら自分以外に子供の世話をする存在がいないと分かったのだ。あまりに反対されたので私は反論した。じゃあ、産後誰か赤ちゃんの面倒を見てくれますか？保育園に入るのもすぐには無理ですし、体調を崩した時には登園できないので、休めたら休みますが、無理な時は誰か面倒を見てくれますか？はぁ？何言ってんの？子供を育てるのは親の務めでしょ？人に押し付けちゃダメよ。いや、押し付けているのではなく、少しでもサポートしてほしいとお願いしているだけなのに。自分の子供、孫だって言うのに、誰も世話をするって言わないんだな。私はそのことが悲しかった。彼らにとって、所詮私は籍を入れただけの他人なのだ。何もずっと仕事をしないと言っているわけではありません。子供の手が離れるようになれば、再就職やパートも考えています。とりあえず小さいうちはちゃんと面倒を見たいんです。そう言うと、しぶしぶ3人とも納得してくれた。こうして私は出産前に仕事を辞めたわけだが、 産む直前までいつも通り家事をさせられた。そして、とうとう出産予定日。私は計画分娩を希望し、すでに入院していた。これについては義母は、邪道だわ。自然に産気づくのを待つべきよ。若い人の考えはもうついていけないわ。などとわけのわからないことをわめき散らしていた。というか、何のサポートもないうちにいるなんて、こんな危険な話はないものだ。この頃、私は彼らよりもお腹の我が子を一番に考えるようになっていた。母は強くならなくちゃ。そして無事に出産を終え、義実家に連絡したが、夫は、あ、そう。で、いつ帰ってくるの？だけだった。義家族は誰も会いに来てくれなかった。一方、私の両親と姉はすぐにお祝いに駆けつけてくれた。かわいいね。あんたもよく頑張ったね。母からそう声をかけられて、私は思わずほっとして涙が溢れてしまった。そう、私は一人でよく頑張った。一人で出産ができたんだもの。これから義実家に戻ってもきっとうまくやっていけるはず。そう思っていた。出産6日目に私は生まれたばかりの娘を連れて義実家に戻った。すると待ち構えていたのは義母だった。やっと帰ってきたわね。じゃ、掃除して。と命令された。はぁ？ちょっと待ってよ。私はつい数日前に出産してきたのよ。体だってまだ本調子じゃないのに。そんな人に掃除を押し付けてくるなんてどんな神経してるの？でも、埃は小さい子供にとっても良くない。だから疲労困憊の体に鞭を打って仕方なく掃除をした。そして出産前と変わらずに夕飯を作り、後片付けをした。その間、赤ちゃんが泣いたが、義両親のどちらも世話をしようとしてくれない。というか、せっかく連れてきたというのに、二人とも孫の顔をまともに見ようとしなかった。さらに夫はこの日帰ってこなかった。おかしいな。退院日は電話で伝えてあったのに。翌日帰ってきた夫に聞いた。あなた、昨日はどこに行ってたの？せっかく子供を連れて帰ってきたっていうのに。え？飲みに行ってただけだよ。こっちは働いているんだから、口出ししてくるな。とぶっきらぼうに言われた。生まれたばかりの我が子に会いたいという気持ちは全くないのだろうか。そして思っていた通り、私への扱いは出産前と何一つ変わらなかった。赤ちゃんの夜泣きもあり、寝不足だというのに、普段通りの生活、家事を強いられた。せめて夫には少しは育児を手伝ってもらいたかったのに。え？俺わかんないから無理。と、花から育児においてのやる気がゼロだった。抱っこすらもしなかった。義両親も。りょうたに似てないわね。ちっとも可愛くないわ。と、ちらっと見ただけで、可愛がるどころか抱っこもしてくれなかった。しかも、本当にうちの孫なの？とまで言ってきた。散々こき使ってきた嫁が、よそで遊んでくる暇があるとでも思うのか？また赤ちゃんがちょっと泣くだけで。うるさいから早く泣き止ませろ。これからご近所の人たちが遊びに来るから赤ちゃん連れて出かけて。などと言われ、家族というよりよそ者扱い。その人たちの頭の中には、赤ちゃんは泣くのが仕事という言葉はない。あなたたちだって曲がりなりにも人の親のはずだが。仕方なく子供をベビーカーに乗せ、用事もないのに出かけた。虚しい気持ちで仕方なかったが、この子にとっては頼れるのは私だけ。私がしっかりしなくては。そう思っていたとき、目の前にケーキ屋さんがあった。そうだ。落ち込んだときはスイーツで気分転換をしよう。この子のお祝いも兼ねて。私は家族4人分のプリンを買った。プリンは私が一番好きなスイーツ。交際していたときは夫も私に買ってきてくれたり、美味しいお店を見つけて食べに行ったこともあったけど、ここ数年は夫が買ってきてくれることなんて全くなくなった。気温が下がってきたので義実家に帰ると、ご近所の人たちがまだいて、義母は楽しそうに話をしていた。 邪魔しちゃいけないと思って静かに入っていくと、お嫁さんはこれから専業主婦になるんでしょ？ってことは、変な歌声もしょっちゅう聞く羽目になるのかしらね。と、ご近所さんが冗談めいて話すと、義母は、ごめんなさいね、迷惑な嫁で。だいたい嫁のやつ生意気なのよ。専業主婦になることだって勝手に決めるんだもん。こっちは旦那ももうすぐ定年だし、働き手が多い方が助かるっていうのに。ほんと自分のことしか考えない無能な嫁なのよね。参っちゃうわ。家事も中途半端だし、そんなんで専業主婦になろうなんて100万年早いのよ。ねえ。と語った。は？自分のことしか考えていないのはそっちでしょ？しかもまた変な歌声を私のせいにして。その夜、私は夕飯の準備をしていたら高熱を出した。おそらく産後の無理がたたったのだろう。それなのに誰も赤ちゃんの面倒を見てくれず、夫も帰ってこなかった。夜遅く、熱も下がってきたので何か口にしようと台所に向かった。そうだ、夕方に買ってきたプリンがあったはず。すると帰ってきたばかりの夫が私が買っておいたプリンを食べていた。しかもテーブルの上に空瓶が一つ、そして夫はもう一つを手に取って食べていた。え？ねえ、なんで二つ食べているの？だって腹減っちゃったんだもん。そしたら母さんたちがプリンがあるって言うから食ってやったよ。一つは私のだったのに。はぁ？別にプリンの一つや二ついいだろ？ケチケチすんなよ。それより、お前また怠けたいからって体調悪いふりをしてるんだろ？本当にやめてくれよ。母さんたちにまた、お前の嫁が怠け出したぞなんて言われたよ。ちゃんとやってくれよ。夫はそうつぶやきながら残りのプリンを口の中に書き込んで私の前に空瓶を投げつけてきた。ちゃんとやってくれよ、ですって？一体どの口がそんなことを言ってんのよ。ちゃんとやってくれよ。それは私があなたたちに言いたいセリフだ。夫は昔と比べて変わってしまった。きっともう彼は私の好物がプリンだったということも忘れたのだろう。ふん。家族失格ですって？上等よ。だったらそんな家族はこっちから切り捨ててやる。プリンは甘いが、食べられた恨みは甘くない。私は翌日、子供を連れて実家に帰った。すると玄関に到着するや否や、両親が出迎えてくれて、いらっしゃい、よく来たね。ほら、早く上がんなさい。と言いながら、すぐに私の手から子供を受け取って、荷物も運び込んでくれた。きっと、家族っていうのはこういうのを言うんだわ。あら、双葉、どうしたの？具合でも悪い？私はそう声をかけられて、初めて自分が泣いていることに気づいた。それから父に子供の面倒を見てもらいながら、母に今までのことを話した。あらあら、それは大変だったね。私、この子のために頑張ろうって思ったんだけど、自分を家族として見てもらえない家にいたって子供にも良くないって思ったの。だから覚悟を決めようと思う。そう。うちは別にあんたと子供が来たって大丈夫よ。老夫婦2人しかいないんだもの。あなたたちが来た方が賑やかになって生活に張りが出るってもんよ。母は私を力強く励ましてくれた。そして、ほら、これでも食べて元気を出しなさい。とプリンを持ってきてくれた。え？好きでしょ？今日来るって聞いたから用意しておいたのよ。私は目の前のプリンを見ながら、またもや涙が流れた。自分のことを気にかけてくれる母の温かさが嬉しく、自分もこういう親になりたいと思った。そのためには、あの家にいてはきっとダメだ。そう考えていたとき、玄関の方から、お邪魔しまーす。という2人の声が聞こえた。部屋に入ってきたのは姉の和葉と3歳になる姪のみちだった。姪は私と赤ちゃんがいるのを見て、
赤ちゃんいる？見ていい？タッチしていい？
と興味津々で聞いてきた。みちが赤ちゃんと戯れるのを見ているのはとても幸せだった。しみじみと考えていたら姉が切り出した。 もしかして出戻ってこようと思ってる？え？なんでそう思うの？なんとなく顔を見てたらね。だって私経験者だもん。と姉は自信ありげに述べた。そう、実は姉はバツイチで、姪と二人暮らしをしていた。姉は話を続けた。それに、私、見ちゃったのよ。何を？今日ってりょうたさん仕事行ってる？うん、出勤日だし、作業着で出かけてった。私も朝からお弁当作ったし。見間違いじゃないとは思うんだけど、でも、間違ってたらごめんね。ここに来る途中で見たのよ。女性と一緒に歩いているのを。私は黙っていた。そして私は思い切って姉に言った。ねえ、お姉ちゃん、お願いがあるんだけど。それから1ヶ月後、姉は私の暮らす義実家に姪を連れて訪ねてきてくれた。お邪魔しまーす。あ、お姉ちゃん、みっちゃん、いらっしゃい。私が出迎えると、義母がやってきて。あら？和葉さん？今日って来る予定だったの？私たち、双葉さんから何も聞いていないんだけど。義母が私の方を見ながら聞いてきたのを見て、姉は。お久しぶりです。突然すみません。今日友達の家に遊びに来ていて、ちょうどこの近くだったので、双葉にさっき連絡して寄らせてもらったんです。赤ちゃんの顔も見たかったですし。お邪魔しますね。さあ、みっちゃん、赤ちゃんのとこに行こうか。これ、お土産のプリンです。姉は義母にプリンの入ったケーキボックスを押し付けるように渡し、そそくさと家の中に上がってきた。姉は赤ちゃんを見つけて、そっとそばに寄って顔を覗き込んだ。そして部屋をじっくりと見ながら、それにしても綺麗にしているのね。小さい赤ちゃんがいる家とは思えないわ。みちが小さい時なんて私、夜全く寝れなかったから、部屋中散らかりっぱなしだった。でもこんなに綺麗ってことは、きっとお母さんが丁寧なんですね。義母は曖昧に。ええ、まあ、おほほほ。と返答をした。嘘ばっかり。本人の実の姉なんだからすぐバレるのに、すぐこうして外面だけ良くしようとするんだから。姉はそれを聞いて話を続けた。双葉、いいところにお嫁に来たのね。私の元夫の家とは正反対。元夫のお母さんなんて家事を全部私に押し付けてきた挙句、子育てにも協力してくれなかったもの。あそこは悪魔の暮らすうちでした。姉は義母に向かってにっこりと微笑んだ。でも、お母さんは違いますよね。ちゃんと家事も育児にも参加してくれているんですよね。羨ましいです。それほどでも。義母は少し後ろめたいのか、私の目を全く見ずに棒読みで答えた。だから私が代わりに答えてあげた。まあ、そうですよね。お母さんもりょうたさんを産んでいるんですから、産後直後の女の体がどんな状況かなんてわかりますよね。産後すぐとなれば、出産した女性の体は交通事故にあったようなものですからね。そんな女性に家事を強いる家庭なんて最悪ですよね。と。すると義母は私のことを忌々しげに見てきた。そこにちょうど夫が急いだ様子で帰ってきた。双葉はいる？あれ？お姉さん？お久しぶりです。りょうたさん、お邪魔してます。夫は姉への挨拶もそこそこに、私のすぐそばに寄ってきて、声を潜めて言ってきた。ちょっと、双葉、話があるんだけど。でも私は隠す気なんてこれっぽっちもない。話？ここでどうぞ。いや、ここではちょっと、大事な話なんだ。だからあっちで話さないか？無理よ。姉と赤ちゃんを放っておけないわ。だから話だったらここで聞くけど。そう返すと。じゃあ、後でいい。と諦めたようだ。私たち夫婦がそんなやりとりをしていると、姪のみちが、
プリン食べたーい
と言い出したので、 そうだね。せっかくお土産でもらったんだから食べよっか。私は義母が持ったままだったお土産の箱を取り、中身を近くのテーブルの上に出した。みっちゃん、どうぞ。
はーい。
プリンって言葉の響きがいいわよね。いかにもプリンって感じ。プリン大好き。私がわざとプリンを平板なアクセントで読むと、夫が目を背けた。
おばちゃん変なの。プリンじゃなくて、プリンだよ。
みちがプリンを食べ始めたのを見ながら私は姉に尋ねた。そういえば、お姉ちゃんの元夫さんって育児をちょっとはしてくれたの？それが、聞いてよ。あいつ自分の子供だっていうのに何もしなかったのよ。抱っこはもちろん、おむつ替えやお風呂、泣いている時も、おい、泣いているぞって言うだけ。一体私が誰の子供を産んだと思ってるのよ。しかもよ、元夫なんて私が育児でバタバタしているうちに浮気していたのよ。本当に最低男だった。姉は私の夫の前で熱く語るのだった。りょうたさんはそんなことないわよね。姉は強めに夫に詰め寄った。そこで私もそんな夫に詰め寄った。そうよね。育児に参加しない父親なんてただの無責任男よね。人として最低よね。夫は私の勢いに押されたのか。そうかな。などと言う。その時、私はさも思い出したかのように姉に聞いた。そういえば、お姉ちゃん、あれは？持ってきてくれた？ああ、あれね。ちゃんと預かってきてるわよ。姉はそう言って、カバンの中から茶封筒を出して私に渡してくれた。私は中身を出して確認をし、お父さんも呼んだ。お父さんも来てください。聞いてほしいことがあります。なんだ。嫁の分際でわしを呼びつけおって。義母はブツブツ言いながらやってきた。すみません皆さん。姉が近くに来たのでたまたま寄ったというのは嘘。本当は一緒に見ていただきたいものがあって呼んだんです。なんだ一体。何を企んでる？怒り気味の義父を無視して、私は茶封筒から出した写真を数枚、義家族の前に並べた。義家族はこれを見て、これは何だ？と声を上げた。その写真は、夫が公園で弁当を食べていたり、新聞を見たり、またはネットカフェに入っていく写真だった。どの写真も作業着姿で平日の昼間と思われた。お父さん、お母さん、どうやら私たち、夫に騙されていたようです。どういうこと？義両親は全くわからないという顔をしたので、私が夫を見ながら言った。あなたの勤務先、倒産したでしょ。義両親は驚いた顔をし、夫は気まずそうな表情をした。私は夫にさらに述べた。最近、出勤時間はいつも通りだけど、作業着は汚れていないからおかしいと思ったのよ。しかも口座を確認したら、勤め先からの毎月の給料は入っていないし、なぜか子供のために貯めていた口座からお金が減っていたの。だから更新所に依頼して調べました。そうしたら数ヶ月前に倒産してるって。どうして言わなかったのよ。だって、ほら、あれだよ。お前は出産や育児もあるし、心配かけまいと気を使ったのさ。へえ、私に気を使ってくれてたんだ。全然そんな風に見えなかったけどな。お前が分かっていないだけで、俺はお前のことをちゃんと考えているんだぞ。あんまり喋らない方がいいのにね。では早速、どれだけ私のことを考えているのか聞いてみよう。それじゃあここで問題です。は？問題？私が一番好きな食べ物は何でしょう？わかった。肉だ、肉。最近肉料理多いもんな。違うわよ。それはあなたの両親の好み。私は肉より魚が好き。じゃあ、なんだっけ？しどろもどろになる夫を何気なく見ていた姪のみちが。
おじちゃんわかんないの？みっちゃん知ってるよ。プリンでしょ？だから今日ママと買ってきたんだよね。
と姉に話しかけた。さらに、
おじちゃんは双葉ちゃんのこと何もわかってないんだね。
とニコニコとしながら鋭い指摘をしてくれた。ナイスみっちゃん。そう、夫は私の好きなものなど何も覚えていないのだ。それよりも彼の心にいるのは、みっちゃんの言う通りよ。あなたは私のことを何も考えていない。何言うんだよ。うっかり忘れていただけだよ。そう、プリンだったな、プリン。夫はただの物忘れで済まそうとしているが、そうはいかない。へえ、うっかりね。じゃあ、これもうっかりで済まそうとするのかしら。これは何かわかる？私はさらに封筒から写真を数枚出して、義家族の前に並べた。私が彼らの前に出したのは、夫が女性と腕を組んでいたり、一緒にホテルに入っていく写真だ。なんで？どうしてこれを？実はね、お姉ちゃんがあなたを見たって言ったのよ。でもおかしいの。だって仕事に行っているはずの時間なんだから。それで更新所であなたの女性関係も調べてもらったのよ。そう、夫は浮気をしていたのだ。道理でいつも帰りが遅いはずだ。ホテルでゆっくり休憩していたのだから。夫の顔は真っ青になっている。おかしいわね。さっきは転職活動しているって言っていたくせに。嘘つき。倒産してからはずっと子供のために私が貯めたお金で浮気女と遊んでいたんでしょ？父親失格ね。私がそう言うと、夫は言い訳をしてきた。いや、そのうち仕事を見つけてまた貯金しようと思ったんだ。それまでちょっと借りただけだよ。は？他の女に貢ぐために子供のお金を使ったっていうの？一体どういう教育をされたらそうなんのよ。ねえ、お母さん、お父さん、どういうことですかね？私はすぐそばで私たちのやりとりを聞いていた義両親に向かって言った。義両親はあまりの事実にショックを受け、まともに何も言えないようだ。だから改めて聞いてあげた。一体、りょうたさんにどんなしつけをされたんですか？人のことを能なしの嫁なんて言う前に、自分のお子さんのしつけをし直した方がいいんじゃないですか？と。すると今度、夫はハッとした顔をして私に向かって、やっぱり彼女の家に慰謝料の請求書を送ったのはお前か？と聞いてきた。おそらく帰ってきた時に私に話があると言っていたのはこのことだったのだろう。そうよ。更新所に依頼して浮気しているのが分かったから弁護士に依頼してお相手に書類を送付してもらったのよ。慰謝料って、もしかして俺にも請求する気か？当たり前じゃない。私がそう言うと義母が口を出してきた。ちょっと双葉さん、慰謝料ってひどいんじゃない？きっと、りょうたは会社が倒産して精神的に参っていたのよ。あなたも出産や育児にずっと追われていたし、だからあなたにも責任があるんじゃないの？と。それにはさすがに頭に来たので言い返した。じゃあ言わせてもらいますけどね、私が出産や育児にずっと追われていたのは、あなたたち家族の誰一人として協力してくれなかったからです。そもそも、どんな理由があろうと、頑張って我が子を産んだ女性を放っておいて、よその女性と遊びほうけている男なんて、夫としても、父親としても失格ですよね。慰謝料請求は当然の権利だと思いますけど、それとも、お母さんたちが代わりに私に慰謝料を払ってくれるんですか？いやー、それは無理。だって、夫ももうすぐ定年だし。義母がそう言うと、義父は夫に向かって、りょうた、この、我が家の恥さらしが、お前、一体これをどう落とし前つけるんだ？と怒鳴った。これには夫も、と声を上げて後ずさり。私は一通り言いたいことを言ったので、それでは、私は今日をもってこの家を出て行きますね。あなたには後で慰謝料請求の書類を送らせていただきますので。そう言い残し、 私はあらかじめ用意していた荷物と子供を連れて姉親子と家を出た。後日、私は弁護士を通じて正式に夫と離婚した。もちろん慰謝料を請求し、支払いもしてもらった。夫としては、職なしで慰謝料を用意するのは大変だったろうが、そんなの私の知ったこっちゃない。義父も定年退職したことだし、その退職金を借り、さらに足りない分を借金したのではないだろうか。つまり義実家にいる3人は全員無職の状態になったわけだ。人のことを能なしの嫁なんて言っていたくせに、家族揃って無職だなんて、自分たちの方がよっぽど能なしなのではないだろうか。元夫に至っては、1ヶ月以上も仕事なしで遊んで暮らした生活が染み込んでしまったようで、なかなか新しい仕事に就けないようだ。慣れというのは怖いものだ。さらに義母は、私に任せていた家事をすべてやることになり、ストレスからか、四六時中、変な歌声で歌いまくった。案の定、ご近所からクレームは来たものの、責任をなすりつける私はもういない。そこで、音痴なのは義母だったことがご近所に知れ渡ったそう。今では、元の我が家は、歌う妖怪ハウスと、近所の子供に呼ばれているそうだ。親しまれてよかったね。何しろご近所さんはもう、誰も遊びに来ないのだから。それから私は、一時、実家に子供と一緒に身を寄せた。両親は心よく私たちを迎え入れてくれ、そのまま実家にいてもいいと言ってくれたのだが、いつまでも頼りっぱなしというわけにはいかない。私は、私の力で、ちゃんと娘を育てたいと考え、旅行代理店に就職し、保育園も見つけ、娘が1歳になった時に、実家の近くにアパートを借りた。なるべく2人でやっていこうとは思っているが、必要な時には甘えさせてもらい、なんとか今の生活にも慣れてきた。そんな時、保育園帰りの娘を抱っこ紐で抱っこしながら、スーパーで買い物をしていたら、見知った顔を見つけた。義母だ。正確には元義母。スーパーのお惣菜コーナーで値引きシールを貼っていた。同居していた頃より、いくらか老け込んだ様子で、肌の張りもなく、以前よりやつれていた。それでも、働かないといけないということは、おそらく元夫が未だにちゃんとした仕事に就けていないのだろう。まあ、それも自分たちのしつけの結果なのではないだろうか。私はそんな義母に声をかけずに、必要な買い物だけを済ませ、そっと店を出た。それから数年後。今日は娘の保育園での運動会だ。シングルでも祖父母が近くで見守ってくれたおかげか、娘は明るく活発に成長中だ。今日もかけっこで1位を取って、
ママ、見てた？やったよ！
と元気いっぱいに私に叫んでいた。これからも娘の成長と幸せを見守りながら頑張っていこうと思う。恋をすると、大抵の人はちょっとおバカになると思う。昔から、アバタもエクボなんて言うし、欠点すら美人に見えてしまうくらい、脳内にドーパミンやセロトニンなどの神経伝達物質が大量に分泌されるせいらしい。そうして夫は尻軽女子に見事に引っかかった。私の名前はカズハ、32歳。3年前に同じ会社の同い年の男性、ユキトと社内恋愛の末に結婚した。会社は業界ではそこそこ名の通った厨房機器メーカーだ。社内恋愛といっても部署が違うので、周りに気づかれることもなく、結婚を公表した時はちょっとしたサプライズになった。私は35歳くらいで子供を持ちたいと思っていたので、それまでは共働きで貯金をしようと思っていた。ユキトは、いいんじゃない？産むのはカズハだし、大変なのもカズハなんだから、俺もできるだけ協力するよ。と言ってくれた。その時は優しいと思ったけれど、受け取り方によっては私に丸投げしているようにも見える。 でも、その時は恋愛真っ只中だったので、そんなこと思いもしなかった。恋愛中の女性は少しでも彼氏に可愛いとか、綺麗だとか思ってもらいたくて、ちょっと無理して高いヒールの靴を履いたり、ぼっこりお腹を引き締めるためにきつめのガードルをつけたり、寄せてあげるブラで谷間を作ったり、男性に人気のファッションを研究したり、料理本を買って3時間かけてお弁当を作ってあげたりするものだ。私もそうだった。男性はそこまでじゃないかもしれないけど、ユキトは荷物を持ってくれたり、ドアを開けてくれたり、ちょっとしたプレゼントをくれたりしていた。要は二人とも素の自分ではなくて、ちょっと無理をしていたのだ。でも恋愛中ってそういうものだと思う。人にもよるとは思うけど、私は結構恋愛体質で思い込みが激しい方だ。こんなに素敵な人が私なんかを好きになってくれるなんて。この人に出会うために私は生まれてきた。本気でこんなことを思っていた。待ち合わせの時間に彼が遅れると、もしかして事故？から悪い想像が膨らみ、彼に何かあったらどうしようと泣いてしまったりしていた。夜中にどうしてもユキトに会いたくなってタクシーを飛ばして彼のマンションまで行ってしまったこともある。彼は驚いたけれど喜んでくれて、何せ恋愛真っ只中だったので、そのまま玄関で熱く愛を確かめ合ってしまった。恋愛クライマックスの時に結婚を決めた。世界一幸せな花嫁になると本気で思っていた。あれから3年。今はもう恋愛中の自分を思い出すのも恥ずかしい。なぜあんなに盛り上がれたのか。あの頃の気持ちはお互いの中にすでになくなっている。ありがちだけど、最初につまずいたのは結婚準備の時だ。計画的で事務的な話し合いや手続きを二人でするうち、ちょっとしたことで些細な喧嘩をするようになった。披露宴で出す料理で揉めて、ドレスで揉めて、お互いの出席者で揉めた。中でも私がショックだったのは、出席予定者の名簿を見て、ユキトが、この男誰？親戚じゃないよな。と言ってきたことだ。近所に住んでるんだけど、私の2つ上でね、お母さん同士が高校の同級生なの。親戚じゃないけど、子供の頃から一緒に育ったようなもので、ほとんど兄弟みたいなものだよ。私がそう説明しても、ユキトは納得しなかった。親戚でもない男を招待するのはやめろよ。周りが誤解するかもしれないだろ。俺は嫌だな。俺の知らない男がカズハを子供の頃から知ってるってだけで不愉快だよ。別にやましいところは何にもないし、周りだって気にしないと思う。そう。ユキトは思ったよりもずっと嫉妬深い男だった。それでも、その時の私は、こんなに愛されている私に酔っていたので、彼の嫉妬心まで美化して受け止めていた。新婚旅行先も大いに揉めた。南の島でのんびりしたい私と、ちょっと周りから、おーっと言ってもらえそうなヨーロッパツアーを推すユキト。ユキトは、バイエルンでノイシュバンシュタイン城を見てきたよ、とか言いたいだけなのだ。多分、舌を噛まないように練習するに違いない。ハワイとかグアムとかみんな行くじゃん。つまんないよ。そう。ユキトはちょっと見えっ張りで、他人からすごいねと言われるのが大好きなタイプだったのだ。結局、予算と日程の関係でグアムに決まった後もしばらくブツブツ言っていた。新婚旅行に出発する日、母から、成田離婚とかやめてよね、と言われた。いや、利用するのは羽田だし、と思ったが、その昔、新婚旅行に出かけた夫婦が帰国した途端に離婚してしまうのが成田離婚というドラマにもなったくらい話題になったらしい。羽田離婚とはならなかったが、少しだけその気持ちは理解できた。同棲でもしていれば別だったのだろうが、初めて数日間24時間一緒にいて、お互いに今まで見えていなかった部分が見えてきて、ちょっとしんどかったのだ。新婚生活も最初のうちは良かった。まだお互いに相手に遠慮して気を使っていたし、嫌われたくないという気持ちもあった。共働きなのだから家事は分担しようと最初に決めていた。朝食はユキと、夕食は私。 お風呂掃除とトイレ掃除とゴミ捨てはゆきと。その他の掃除と洗濯は私。だいたいそんな感じで決めたのだが、ゆきとがちゃんと自分の担当をこなしてくれたのは最初の1ヶ月くらいだけだった。寝坊して朝食が作れず、ゴミも持っていかない。お風呂もトイレも全然綺麗になってない。結局私がやることになるのだ。ちょっと、お風呂ちゃんと洗ってる？洗剤使ってないんじゃないの？湯垢が全然落ちてないよ。毎回そんな文句を言うのがめんどくさくなって私がやるようになったのだが、それも良くなかったのかもしれない。一緒に暮らし始めてトイレ問題も浮上した。やっぱり女心として自分が入ったすぐ後に入られるのは嫌なものだ。私はちょっと便秘気味でトイレ滞在時間もやや長い。一緒に暮らし始めて数日後、私がトイレから出ると、ゆきとが駆け込むようにトイレに入り、出てきた時に言ったのだ。お前トイレ長いよ。しかも臭いし。これはショックだった。私だってゆきとの後に入って臭いなと思ったけど口にはしなかったのに。でも一緒に暮らしているのだから避けては通れない生理現象だ。ネットで検索してみたら結構悩んでいる人も多くて、そこに書かれていた消臭スプレーを購入して使うようになった。ちょっと汚れが気になったので、最近は男性も座っておしっこする人が多いみたいだよ。私がそう言ってみると、なんで知ってんの？会社でアンケートでも取ったの？ギャグなのか何なのかわからない反応をされた。いや、ネットで見て、ネットの情報なんか鵜呑みにするなよ。俺の周り座ってするやつなんかいないよ。そう言われてしまうと引き下がるしかない。その時はトイレ掃除担当はゆきとだったので、まあいいかと思ったというのもある。私が掃除するようになってもう一度ゆきとに言ってみたが、うるさいな。そんなことまで命令されなきゃいけないのかよ。とムッとして言われて、それ以上何も言えなくなった。恋人時代には見たことのない顔で少し怖かったのだ。自分はまともに家事ができないくせに、私の作った料理にはめちゃくちゃ文句をつける。しかも一番嫌なパターン。母親の料理と比べるのだ。お前の作った煮物うまくないな。今度俺の母さんにちゃんと教わってこいよ。お前のカレー市販のルー使ってんの？母さんはルーから自分で作ってたけどな。専業主婦と共働きしてる私を一緒にしないでほしい。残業で遅くなった時にスーパーのお惣菜を買って帰ったら文句を言われた。スーパーの惣菜とかありえないだろ。母さんは一度もそんなの出したことないよ。疲れていたこともあって、この時は私もブチギレた。文句があるなら自分で作れば？私残業で遅くなるって LINE したよね。あなた先に帰ってたんだから、夕食の支度してくれたっていいと思わない？何切れてんだよ。残業になったのはお前の仕事が遅いからじゃないの？俺はさ、営業なの。お前は経理だろ？営業の仕事の方が大変だってバカでもわかるだろ？営業の人たちがいい加減な経費を請求してくるから、私たちが残業になったんじゃないの？絶対こんなの経費で落ちないって言ってるのに、無理やり領収書を置いてったりするから。同じ会社に勤めているというのも考えものだ。ゆきとは営業としてはなかなか成績が良くて、給料も私より多い。最近ではそれを鼻にかけて、お前は俺より給料少ないんだから、その分家事をやるのは当たり前だろ？などと言ってくる。給料の差額分以上に家事やってると思うけど。実際ほとんどの家事は私がやっているのだ。するとゆきとはため息をついて、やれやれ。と言って肩をすくめる。これが私は大嫌いだ。あからさまに私を見下して馬鹿にした態度なのだ。全く生活環境の違う二人が一緒に暮らすということは思った以上に難しいことだった。お互いに対する尊敬や思いやり、理解しようという気持ちや譲り合う気持ちがないとあっという間に破綻してしまう。そしてお互いに恋人時代はこんな人だと思わなかったと思うのだ。結婚して1年が経つ頃には恋愛時代のふわふわした気持ちも消えて、相手のあらばかりが目立つようになった。 それでも浮気するわけでもないし、暴力を振るったり、賭け事をするわけでもない。結婚生活なんてこんなもんかな。諦めとともにそう思うようになっていた。今日同期の飲み会があるから遅くなる。夕飯いらないから。ある日の朝、ゆきとがそう言ってきた。思えば新婚の頃は一緒に通勤電車に乗って仕事に行っていた。最近ではお互い自分のペースで支度をして別々に出勤することも多い。会社内で顔を合わせることはそう多くないからいいのだが、夫婦でお店をやっている人なんか24時間一緒なのだからすごいと思う。その同期の飲み会のあった夜、帰宅したゆきとはかなり酔っ払っていた。お前さ、結構営業連中に人気あんのな。すごく久しぶりにゆきとに言われて嬉しいと思える言葉だったが、その後に続いた内容に耳を疑った。だから、お前の色っぽいとこをサービスして話しといたぜ。最悪だ。酔っ払いとはいえ、なんてことを言うのだろう。これから営業の人たちと顔を合わせづらいではないか。
それは災難だったね。カズハってちょっとお堅いイメージあるから意外性があって受けたんじゃない？昼は真面目な女性社員、夜はセクシーな奥さん。いいじゃん。
同僚のみのりがそう言って笑う。いや、全然良くないんだけどな。しかしそれ以来、なんとなく私に領収書を持ってくる営業の男性が増えた気がする。しかも、ちょっとしたお菓子なども差し入れてくれる男性社員が増えた。
モテてるじゃん。いいことだよ。結婚して3年。そろそろ倦怠期なんじゃない？多少刺激があった方がいいって。
みのりは無責任にそう言うが、そろそろ倦怠期じゃなくて、もうとっくに倦怠期だと思う。ところがゆきとは自分の蒔いた種だというのに勝手に嫉妬して私に文句を言ってくる。なあ、最近お前営業の男たちにチヤホヤされていい気になってんじゃないの？勘違いすんなよな。この人は一体何が言いたいんだろう。それから1週間ほど経ったある日のこと。今日は仕事で遅くなるね。朝出勤前に私がそう言うと、突然ゆきとが、浮気だろと言い出した。仕事だけど？年度末だから決算業務や財務報告の準備があるのよ。何をバカなことをと思ったが、どうやら本気で疑っているようだった。営業の山田が今度食事に誘っちゃおうかなって言ってたぞ。誘われたけど。誘われたけど断ったよ。冗談っぽい感じだったし。断ったのかよ。山田ってモテるんだぞ。営業先でも女性人気高いんだ。本来ならお前なんか相手にしないんだからな。いや、だからこの男は一体何が言いたいんだ？妻に浮気をしてほしいのか、それとも妻を馬鹿にしたいのか。俺なんてラブレターもらったから。山田さんに？バーカ、なんで俺が男からラブレターもらわなきゃいけないんだよ。営業の女の子だよ。サリちゃんって胸の大きな可愛い子。あの子ね。よかったね。可愛い顔をして胸の大きな女の子だ。いかにもユキトが好きそうなタイプだが、全然腹が立たなかった。嫉妬もしなかった。その時、私はもうこの男の人を好きではないんだなと改めて実感した。ユキトくん、サリからラブレターもらったの？そうか。ついに妻帯者にまで魔の手を伸ばしてきたか。私から話を聞いたみのりが腕組みをしながら言った。何よそれ、どういうこと？まあ、あくまで噂だけどね。かなり信憑性高いと思ってるよ。今年2年目の営業女子だけど、成績はトップクラス。それも、お色気スキルのおかげだとか。営業先だけじゃなく、うちの営業の独身男性はほぼ味見してるって。さすがにそれはないんじゃない？でもサリさんって結構無茶な領収書を持ってくる人よね。そうそう。これ、あんたのデート代じゃないの？みたいなおしゃれなお店の飲食代とかね。まあ、営業成績いいから上司も払ってやれって言うし、男と女が同じところで働いていればいろいろあるわよ。それにしても男ってロリ顔で胸の大きい子好きだよね。と、みのりがため息をつく。
確かに、ゆきともそういうタイプの芸能人が好きだ。気をつけた方がいいよ。みのりは心配してくれたが、私はなんだかどうでもいいと思ってしまった。浮気したら別れるからいいわよ。むしろきっかけになってくれたら嬉しいかも。カズハ、あんたそれもう終わってるよ。そうかもしれない。ゆきとが浮気をしたと想像しても腹も立たない。そりゃ若くて可愛い胸の大きな女の子に夫を奪われた女と言われるのはちょっと腹立たしいけれど。そんな話をしていた翌週、ゆきとが珍しく、今週は土曜出勤なんだ。営業先が今日しか時間が取れなくて。とかなんとか言い訳をして出かけていった。そしてそれ以降、帰宅が遅くなったり、休日にふらっと出かけてしまうことが多くなった。あからさまに怪しいので、最近休日出勤とか多いよね。浮気でもしてるんじゃないの？そう聞いてみたことがある。浮気なんかしてないよ。そう答えるゆきとはどこか楽しげで、自分が悪いことをしているという認識は全くなさそうだった。こんな顔を以前はよく見た気がする。そう、恋人時代。お互い相手に恋をしていた時の表情だ。浮気じゃなくて、本気ってことか。恋人時代は、ゆきとが他の女の子と話すのも、一緒にいるのを見るのも嫌だったのに、今は何とも思わない。頃合いを見て離婚を切り出そうと、ゆきとの不貞の証拠を着々と集めた。そんなある日、私が離婚を切り出す前に事件が起きてしまった。40半ばくらいの男性が会社に乗り込んできて暴れたのだ。どうやらサリさんが営業していたお客さんらしい。結婚するって言っただろ。だからここの製品を買ってやったんだ。散々気を持たせて、今更何もなかったことにしようなんて許さないぞ。妊娠したから、あなたとは結婚できないってどういうことなんだ。どうやらお店の厨房機器を大量に買い替えたらしい。決して安いものではないので、騙されて買ったのなら怒るのも無理はない。いや、ちょっと待って。サリさんはユキとの浮気相手のはず。妊娠って？騒ぎを聞きつけて他の部署の社員も集まってきた。営業の男性が声を上げた。ちょっと待てよ。妊娠ってどういうことだ？俺は聞いてないぞ。俺たち別れたの半年前だから、俺は関係ないよな。酒飲んでホテル行ったけど、俺たち何もしてないよな。なんと、3人の男性社員がサリさんとの関係を口にしたのだ。ユキトを入れれば4人だ。その他の営業部の男性たちも、ちょっと気まずそうに顔を背けているところを見ると、こないだみのりが言っていた営業部の男性のほとんどと関係を持ったというのは本当なのかもしれない。するとサリさんがとんでもない行動に出た。ごめんなさい。お腹の赤ちゃんのパパは、この人です。サリさんがユキトの腕に自分の腕を絡ませた。え？ユキトが本気で驚いているところを見ると知らなかったらしい。営業部の人たちも集まってきた野獣馬たちもざわついている。視線が私に向けられて居心地が悪い。決心のしどきかもしれない。間もなくお昼休憩だったので、私は会社を出ると役所に向かい、離婚届をもらってきた。コンビニでおにぎりを買って会社に戻ると、みのりが自分の席でお弁当を食べていた。ちょっと、どこ行ってたのよ。これもらってきた。そう言って離婚届を見せると、早っと驚いていた。だってもうあれじゃ言い逃れなんかできないでしょ？証人もたくさんいたし、しっかり慰謝料取って離婚するわよ。結婚してから2人で貯めた貯金が600万くらいある。本来なら共有財産だから折半だけど、慰謝料としてまるっといただくつもりだ。みのりからあの後の顛末を聞いた。乗り込んだ男は屈強な男性社員たちに取り囲まれてもひるまず、結婚詐欺だ、訴えてやる、と騒いでいたので、営業部長が別室に連れて行って話をしたらしい。なんでも部長が複数の男性と関係を持つような女性ですよ。結婚前に分かってよかったじゃないですかと諭したみたいよ。それでちょっと料金を割引して納得して帰ってもらったみたい。 その後、ゆきととサリさんも別々に話を聞かれ、多分転属処分になるだろうということだった。カズハは辞めたりしないよね。みのりがちょっと心配そうに聞いてきた。当たり前じゃない。私は何も悪いことしてないもん。そりゃ多少居心地は悪いだろうけど、これで晴れて独身に戻れるんだから気にしないわ。私はすでに離婚したつもりになって快適な独身生活をシミュレーションしていた。その夜、げっそりした顔で帰ってきたゆきとに。おめでとう。パパになるんでしょ？これ私からのお祝い。そう言って離婚届を突きつけた。
ちょっと待ってくれよ。
待たない。待つ理由がないもの。私、今週末にここを出ていくわ。結婚してから貯めたお金は、慰謝料として全部私がもらっていくから。
いや、ちょっと待ってくれよ。本当に俺の子かどうかわからないし。
俺のことか、誰のことか関係ないわ。そういう女性を相手にしたんでしょ？バカよね。噂では営業部の男性、かなりの人が彼女とお付き合いしてたみたいよ。でもあなたもやることやったんだから、責任は取らなくちゃね。そう言い残して、私は通帳や印鑑などの貴重品だけ持って実家に帰った。その後ゆきとは製造生産部に異動になり、今まで自分が営業で販売していた機器の製造や組み立てをしている。歩合給がない分、給料もかなり減ってしまったようだ。会社では営業が一番偉いと豪語していたゆきと。今までは後輩だった営業に納期をせかされてヒーヒー言ってるとか。サリさんはお客様からの苦情やトラブルに対処するカスタマーサポート部に移動して臨月まで働いていた。色仕掛けで客に商品を売ったのはあれだけじゃないはず。自分のクレームを自分で受けるのはどういう気分かしらと思う。周囲の目もあって二人はひっそりと入籍したらしい。見えっ張りで変なプライドの高いユキトにとって、お尻の軽い女に捕まったバカな男という目で見られるのはかなり辛いに違いない。数ヶ月ぶりに遠くから見かけた彼はげっそりと痩せてしまっていた。さらには、サリさんは営業部のほとんどの男性に手を出しており、お相手にはユキトの他にも既婚者がいたらしく、前の事件が奥さん連中の間で話題になって、奥さんに詰め寄られた結果、白状した社員が何人か出たらしい。当然そっちからも慰謝料の請求があったそうだ。しばらくは二人とも働いては慰謝料を払い、働いては慰謝料を払い、ということになるだろう。お尻が軽いのは治らないからね。元旦那も苦労するんじゃない？生まれる子がゆきとくんに似てればいいけど。みのりはそう言うが、私の知ったことではない。サリさんは可愛い顔して相当ずぶとい女性だ。そうでなきゃ、社内の男性と片っ端から付き合うなんてできるわけがない。気の弱いところのあるユキトを捕まえて尻に敷いていることだろう。せいぜい頑張って妻子を養えばいいと思う。大変だったなぁ。3年か。俺の想像よりは続いたかな。そう言って笑うのは幼馴染の正隆だ。結婚式は招待できなくてごめんね。思ったよりずっと小さい男でした。恋愛してる時って気がつかないものなのね。カズハは昔から好きになると周りが見えなくなるからな。そうね。好きになって夢中になって、しばらくするとあらが見えてきちゃって冷めちゃうのよね。男を見る目がないんだよな。すぐそばにこんなにいい男がいるのに。また、正隆のことをそんな目で見たことないよ。そう口にしてから、昔から彼の前では素の自分でいられたことを思い出した。いや、最近お袋がうるさくてさ、カズハちゃん結婚ダメになったみたいだから、あんたアタックしなさいよって。お互い気を使わないで一緒に暮らせるのが一番なんだからってさ。確かにそれはその通りだと思う。一緒にいて気楽で楽しいのが一番だ。それに家は近いし、母親同士が親友だし、嫁姑問題も起きないだろ？言われてみれば、かなりの有料物件かもしれない。そう思って、改めて正隆を見ると、なかなかのイケメンである。胸がキュンとした。どうやらすでに恋をしているのかもしれない。こういうところは治らないみたいで、自分にちょっとがっかりする。 でも恋心が冷めても、正隆となら楽しくやっていけるだろうと思った。じゃあ、結婚を前提にお付き合いしちゃう？そうだな。お袋たちに孫の顔を見せてやるために頑張っちゃうか。こういうの、東大元暮らしって言うのよね。いや、捨てる神あれば拾う神ありだろ。そんな身も蓋もないことを言って笑い合う。昔から家族同然の付き合いだったけど、本当の家族になるのはなかなか素敵だと思う。
I'm going on a trip with my sister's family. I couldn't believe my ears at my husband's nonchalant words. Hey, you went to see my daughter for 3 days, even on the weekend, for our daughter's sports day, and now you're going on a trip. Today is our daughter's birthday. I'll never forgive you. I'll make you realize the importance of family, which you've neglected, no matter what. My name is Yuki. I'm 40 years old. I was given this name because the first snow fell on the day I was born, and it was the first time my parents had seen snow together since they got married. I love my name, which is filled with heartwarming stories about my parents, who are still close. My name is filled with fond memories of winter, but the fact that I don't have many fond memories of winter goes back to when I was in my 30s. At that time, I had a child with my husband and was in the middle of another busy life. My husband is kind, and my parents and in-laws help me when I need it, so other than the fact that it's hard to sit still, I don't have any hardships and live a happy and peaceful life. One day, my sister-in-law's husband, who had been working overseas for many years, decided to return to Japan after finishing a long-term project. My sister-in-law and her wife do not have any restrictions on New Year's holidays, so I myself have not seen her since our wedding. However, I have the impression that she was a kind and caring person. She was going to visit her parents' home for New Year's that year, and I was excited because it was a good opportunity to deepen my faith with my sister-in-law. My brother-in-law introduced me to my little sister, Naoiwa, saying, "Hello, it's my first time meeting you. This is Kanoko." Quote. She was born while my brother-in-law was on a business trip overseas, and my husband and I had seen photos of her, but this was the first time we had met. She was a cute girl with distinctive features, inheriting the blood of my half-Japanese brother-in-law. Her naturally curly hair, which was a little pale, also emphasized her cuteness. Needless to say, my heart skipped a beat when I saw the 2-year-old girl hiding shyly behind the knight and fidgeting. I honestly thought, she's cute. When I glanced at my husband, I could see that his eyes were shaped like hearts, and he was so smitten with her. During the stay, he stuck to May the whole time. May, who used to be a bit shy, gradually began to trust her husband, and it seemed that this made her even cuter to him. He even tried to give her a bath, so he told her to leave that to her older sister or brother. He thought that even though she was a little girl, she might be shocked when she grew up to know that her uncle had taken care of her. My husband didn't seem to understand, but even though he thought that maybe he was doting on her a little too much, he could understand that it was no use in the face of Na's cuteness. I'm sure that once the baby in my belly is born, she'll be just as doted on as Nay. No, she'll be even doted on more. When I thought about it that way, I found it endearing to see my husband doting on Nay, but after my sister-in-law's wife moved near our house, my husband gradually started acting strange. First, he started having dinner with my sister-in-law once a week. The purpose was Nay. He wanted to see May's face. At first, I was there too, but since I was pregnant and my health wasn't stable, the frequency of our visits gradually decreased. Even so, my husband would go to the temple alone and enjoy his meal with his maid every day. Rain or shine, the wind and misfortune would come and go frequently. I once asked my mentor if it was a bother, but he was more than happy to have an extra set of hands to look after our small child. Well, if my sister-in-law was okay with it, then it was fine, but I couldn't help but feel a little sickened by the sight of my husband so desperately trying to look after his mate. Wasn't he being a little too picky about his honor, leaving his pregnant wife to go to the temple all the time? I wondered if he was more important to me, his child or my mate, but I kept my feelings to myself, thinking that maybe my pregnancy was making me feel unstable. But one morning, my husband said he was taking the day off from work. When I asked him what was wrong, he said my mate had a fever and wanted to get better. That must be my mentor's job. First of all, I'll say it again and again, I'm pregnant right now. I wear a mask even when I go out so I don't catch a cold. I wondered how my husband could possibly be so sensible about taking care of Nay, who had caught the wind, when he had such a wife. Hey, aren't you being a bit too affectionate? Well, Kanoko is actually cute, and I can understand how you feel. But you know how careful I am about getting sick right now, right? What an idiot. Are you jealous of your child? I don't think it's about that. I think it's a matter of crisis management. If the wind were to spread to you and then to me, and you were to develop a high fever, there's no way it wouldn't affect the baby in my womb. It's just the wind. Then Kanoko isn't just the wind either. What a cold woman. Don't underestimate the wind of a small child. I thought this was pointless. It didn't seem like he understood what I was trying to say even a little bit, or that he had any intention of doing so. His head was probably filled with worries about the name of the disease. I was so surprised that I told him to do whatever he wanted, and then my husband actually took a day off from work and ran off to his father-in-law's house. Well, in the end, my sister-in-law, who had also been struggling with the wind, told me to go home because I was getting in the way of the bureaucratic disease, but that's where the problem started. My husband brought back the cold from his father's house, and first my husband caught a slight cold, which then spread to me. My husband seemed to be living with only a slight cold, but it was quite tough for me since I couldn't take medicine. My husband must have felt bad about this, and he apologized to me, saying he was sorry for what he had done to me. However, when he heard that I had caught a cold, he went to the 24-hour supermarket and bought sports drinks, yogurt, and other things, but he didn't show any of that when it came to me. He said, "Just stay quiet, you'll get better if you sleep," and although his words were kind, I couldn't help but feel concerned about the difference in how he treated May. He said, "I'm an adult, but I'm pregnant." Maybe my mind was weakened by my illness, but I couldn't help but feel uneasy. My wife has always remembered the resentment she felt toward her husband when she was pregnant and giving birth, and it goes without saying that this incident cast a shadow over my heart ever since. A while after that, I gave birth. And my sister-in-law's wife also said that the project she had been working on until before she returned to Japan was going to resume, so we suddenly decided to go overseas for infertility treatment. My husband was depressed because he couldn't see Merit, but he doted on our child, Rika, instead. Was he just a kid? I thought that now that he had his own child, he would pour his abnormal love for Na onto our daughter. He could dote on his child as much as he wanted. The vague feelings I had been feeling for a while were cleared up. I had intended to cherish and protect this family with my husband and daughter, but when my daughter was 5 years old, my sister-in-law returned to Japan after a long period of infertility overseas and moved near our house again. And so the nightmare returned. My husband, who had been so happy with our daughter, suddenly changed his mind and started doting on Nai, who was now 8 years old. He goes to Yoshishi's house almost every day after work and plays with Nai for about 2 hours, and on weekends he leaves us alone and goes out to play with Mei's family. Moreover, it seems that he pays for all of Mei's admission fees and food and drink expenses. I thought Yoshishi was being too rude, but I was wrong. Mei has grown up too. It seems that Yoshishi is a little annoyed by my husband coming to visit now, and he seems to be turning a blind eye by paying for Mei. The truth is, would he really go that far? It's already a problem that he favors Mei more than his own child, but what's with him putting a strain on our family's finances? Is it a reaction to being apart? My husband's attachment to Mei has clearly gotten heavier than before. I myself have become more irritated, and we have been fighting more and more, and to be honest, I've even started thinking about divorce. Is it better for my daughter to have a father? No, but Mei is a much better father, I kept telling myself, but one day, he said, I'm going on a family trip with my sisters this weekend. This weekend is Rika's birthday. You can do that later. Quote. Wah what? What the heck? Quote. I said. My husband said that as if there was some kind of problem, and my anger snapped. You didn't even come to Rika's sports day last month. You're a failure as a father. Which is more important to you, Mei or your daughter? Yeah, that's right. They're both cute, of course. Then you should value your daughter's events too. Which one is your child? Why should I get yelled at? I treat both of them equally. I'm saying that because I don't. Besides, you are. Oh, stop talking, stop talking. If you keep saying that, you'll never take care of your daughter. What about me doesn't take care of my daughter? It's all your imagination. Of course, I'll keep attacking each other, saying that we're both wrong, and the conversation will go sideways. Nothing has been resolved, but my anger is only heating up, and eventually my husband gets angry and says this. I can't stand this woman who keeps making a fuss about me. I'm getting a divorce. Oh, right. It doesn't matter if she's a fussy woman or not. If my husband doesn't take care of my daughter, then it doesn't matter whether he's there or not, right? I felt like all my worries up until then had suddenly cleared up. The moment I glared at my husband. Men always say that in a strangely mature tone. My husband and I both stared wide-eyed. He can't do anything without a woman who supports him, yet he gets cocky in the moment. He'll regret it later. I think I can see a snack bar in the background of the slightly carefree daughter. Is it my imagination? My husband just stood there, dumbfounded. If he thinks women will be turned off by the word divorce, he's a pathetic man. I've heard that line somewhere before. I was strangely curious about where that line came from, but it seems that the unexpected punch of truthful words from his daughter hit my husband hard, and he was stunned. Divorce, do whatever you want. I wouldn't be cheap enough to be a family with a man like that. Rika's mother's famous words continue. The husband gradually became teary-eyed, and he approached Ririka and the daughter, but a man who doesn't appreciate his wife's support is no good. How great does he think he is when he's so arrogant? Daughter, I never thought that much of it. My daughter's words sounded more like someone else's complaints than like she was speaking on my behalf. I wondered where she had learned these words, and then it hit me. These are the words my mother-in-law, who recently went through a middle-aged divorce, said when she was drunk and complained about my father-in-law. My in-laws had a huge fight during our break, which led to a middle-aged divorce. This conversation follows almost the same pattern as that time. My husband said he wanted a divorce, so my daughter must have started playing pretend games. My husband, who doesn't realize this, seems to think that what my daughter said is her true feelings, and he's sulking because it was her father's fault. She's more depressed than I imagined, so I try to get my daughter to stop playing pretend games, telling her to stop, but she keeps blaming her husband for what my mother-in-law said. I see. I was the one who stopped her when it came to my mother-in-law. No matter what I say, it's just pretend games to my daughter. This is bad. And now is the time when once you get hooked on something, you keep playing it over and over again. The other day, I made her say the same thing as a popular comedian several times. Then for a while my daughter kept blaming my husband, and eventually she got bored and said this. That's right, Dad. The other day Kanoko-chan said, "Huh, Kanoko?" Surprised by the sudden change of topic, my husband was taken aback when it came to names. HMPH, Kanoko-chan, said that Lika-chan's dad has no taste for toys. Eika-chan is already 8 years old and doesn't need a stuffed animal. She said I sell myself as kind. Whether he knew what the words meant or not, he felt betrayed by his daughter laughing and his beloved Nagi. My husband turned completely pale. I couldn't help but interrupt, saying that girls grow up fast. I sell myself as kind. What a strange way to put it. My husband was completely depressed and groaned on the spot. I thought, oh, I meant well. Well, that's just how people who sell things are. You don't have to go that far. Where did all the sadness from when we ran out of customers go? My husband looked at me with a dejected expression. I felt a little sorry for him, but what was it? Did he want a divorce? Huh, no, that's not exactly a swear word. Even in swear words, there are good and bad things to say. The fact that he suddenly said the word divorce means that I was right in his heart. If he didn't listen to me, it means he already thought we should get a divorce. I have no confidence that I can get along with someone like that in the future. Above all, I don't think he'll suddenly change his mind after all that honor, and he'll probably start using our savings to buy me some stylish toys. It seemed like my words were just a spur-of-the-moment joke, but my husband pressed me. Yeah, it seems like divorce is the right thing to do after all. If we could have switched our hearts, we could have continued our relationship, but that's not going to work. Will you give me a divorce? Yes. And so my husband and I decided to get a divorce. Just to be sure, I also explained to my daughter, who didn't seem to understand what divorce meant, what it meant. If my daughter didn't want to, I thought about respecting her wishes as a parent, but since Dad is hardly ever home, he's more like an uncle she sees occasionally, and she laughed nonchalantly, saying, "It's fine." It's true that my daughter goes to bed early at kindergarten, and my husband, who goes to see May and comes home late, doesn't see her much on weekdays, and we don't really talk much. On top of that, my husband only goes out to play with May on weekends and doesn't attend events. In other words, to my daughter, our family was a single-parent household. If that's the case, I thought there was no need to worry about it, so I simply refused to file for divorce. My husband, who was still hurt by my daughter's words, wanted to rebuild our relationship, but I firmly refused. He still kept buying May toys, undeterred. My husband's love for May was incurable. It was like a disease that affects Mount Fuji. There was no way we could rebuild it. It took my husband a while to come to terms with it, but we finally got divorced, and my daughter and I started a new life together. On the other hand, my husband was apparently severely criticized by his mother-in-law and father-in-law for being too attached to May and getting divorced. my father-in-law scolded me and told me to reflect on my actions and forbade me from seeing Na. To begin with, I myself had just started going through a puberty period, and normally I would have hated my father, but apparently my feelings were directed towards my husband, which was becoming a bit annoying, so it seemed like it was just the right time. I can't believe I was hated so easily after all I'd done. My mother-in-law apologized to my daughter and me, saying that my son had caused me to feel bad, but honestly, my husband was the only one at fault. Don't worry about it. It's been 4 years since then, and my husband still won't let me see my mate, and my daughter hates seeing my husband, so he's hated by both. He seems to have accepted it as his own fault and is reflecting on it, but as for my daughter and I, my daughter has started elementary school, has made more friends, and is having a fun time. Since she started school at a junior high school, I felt intimidated by her classmates who wore masks and whose expressions I couldn't see, and there were times when she would cry because she didn't understand how her friends were feeling. However, as I continued to do my best to listen to my daughter's concerns, post with her, and do what I could as a mother, my daughter gradually gained confidence and courage, and now her homeroom teacher even says that she is the mood maker of the class. Recently, she started going to swimming school, and it seems that she is steadily making friends there. However, it seems that her swimming skills are still the same as before. I wonder if she has become like me. I think I will also take swimming lessons to train myself. Since we are mother and daughter, I think it would be good if we could support each other's good and bad points and improve each other. I want to be a mother who is more like a friend than a mother. By the way, my daughter's friends say that I am a beautiful older sister. Hee hee. There was a meeting that focused on beauty. Well, the daughter of the tower said, "Oh, she's an old lady, but hey, daughter. Don't say unnecessary things." When I tell my daughter that, she actually says, "You're just an old lady, but since when did she become so talkative?" Well, that quick-talking attitude was a great ally back then. Our parent-child relationship is full of intrusive comments, but we live happily and lively every day. At first, I was worried about becoming a single mother, and as a full-time housewife at the time, I had a hard time finding work. But luckily, a friend's company started a friend referral campaign, and I was able to secure a job at a major call center. Since it's a company that aims to improve the status of women, they have a deep understanding of child rearing and the lives of single mothers, and someone like me has now been given the position of supervisor and is training my subordinates. In the past, there were very few single mothers employed and very few women in positions of authority, so I think there's still a long way to go, but I can definitely feel that things have become easier for women to work. I have single mothers and single fathers among my subordinates, so I'm going to do my best to make it easier for them to work. I want to be a mother who can successfully balance work and family and be the kind of mother my daughter looks up to. I'll do my best. Oh.
本当の花嫁は私よ。こんな不細工な偽物に騙されないで。私にシャンパンをかけ、さらにひどく罵ってくる女は、残念なことに私の幼馴染。彼女の勢いは止まらず、さらに私のことを嘲笑う。ダッサいドレスに安っぽい匂いのシャンパン。結婚式にこんなものを用意するなんてさすがね。もう許さない。私の大切なもの、すべてを馬鹿にするなんて。あなたがどんなひどいことをしたのか、いずれその身で味わうことになるんだから。私は千夏、26歳の会社員。彼氏のケントは28歳で、私たちはもう4年付き合っている。もうすぐ結婚することになるはずだ。ケントは家業を継ぐために最近会社を辞めたばかり。 結婚したら私もいずれ、ケントの実家のある県に引っ越すことになるだろう。その心づもりでいる。ケントが家業について勉強するのに合わせて、私も休日はケントと一緒に勉強を進めているところ。ケントのご両親も、うちの両親も、若い二人のことを応援してくれている。ケントからは、近々きちんとしたプロポーズをするからと言ってもらえて、この結婚に関して心配なことは何もない。と思ったら、敵は外からやってきた。千夏、遊ぼうよ。私は週末、いつものように家で勉強をしていた。突然家に押しかけてきたのは、幼馴染のみゆだ。同い年のみゆとは、生まれた時からご近所さんで、親同士も長い知り合いだ。だから遠慮なく自宅にホイホイ上がり込むし、私の家族も気軽に迎えてしまう。だけど、もう小さかった頃とは何もかもが違うのだ。私は最近のみゆが正直苦手だった。いい年して一人称がみゆなのもますます苦手だ。ねえ、みゆがせっかく来てあげたのに、どうして千夏は机にばっか向かってるの？車出してどっかおしゃれなカフェ連れてってよ。私は週末必ず勉強するって決めてるの。悪いけど出かけたかったら電車で出かけてね。みゆは私が車の免許を取ると、自分が出かけたい時に遠慮なく足として使うようになった。足があるのだから自分で免許を取る必要はないと思っているらしい。昔からのことだが、みゆは自分のことを世界一可愛いと思っている。そこそこは可愛いけども、別に世界一ではない。学校で3本の指に入っていた程度だ。仲良くしているようでいて、ずっと私のことを見下しているのはよくわかる。まあ、幼馴染の腐れ縁。適当に流しておけばそれでいいやと思っていたけど、最近どうやら風向きが変わってきたみたいで。勉強ってケントさんが継ぐ会社かなんかのこと？なんで千夏がしゃしゃり出て勉強なんかすんのよ。なんでって、だって私はケントと結婚するし、そうなったらケントの家業のことにも詳しくないと、具体的なことは避けてざっくり話すことにした。もちろん余計な情報を与えるのも、彼女にちゃちゃを入れられるのも嫌だからだ。すると、みゆはいきなりプッと吹き出した。千夏、ケントさんと結婚する気でいるの？かわいそすぎるんだけど。かわいそうって何がよ。千夏とケントさんって付き合ってからかなり経つよね。ねえ、まだプロポーズのプの字も出てないのに舞い上がってこんな勉強して虚しくないの？みゆはケタケタと笑って私をいつものように見下してくる。そしていつものように知りもしない人の私生活を決めつけてるんだから。プロポーズはいずれしてくれるから。そう言ってて突然振られる要領の悪いおバカさん多いんだよね。ケントさんの本当の気持ちも知らずにかわいそう。は？本当の気持ちって？私とケントが付き合ってから4年。お互いの両親に紹介して頻繁に家を行き来するようになったのは1年ほど前からだった。それはやっぱり結婚を視野に入れ始めたのが1年前ということなんだけど、数ヶ月前、うちに遊びに来たケントを偶然目撃したミユは、ケントの車や持ち物を一瞬でチェックし、後で私を、彼氏はお金持ちなんじゃないか、と問い詰めてきた。その時否定すればよかったのに、うっかりケントの家が家業を営んでいることを漏らしてしまったのだ。私にも、いつも人を見下すミユに反撃したい気持ちがあったのかもしれない。結果として、ミユは私のところにやってきて、ケントの話ばかりするようになってしまった。一度なんて、ケントが遊びに来た日に、なんとか家に入り込んで、ずっとケントにべったりしていた。ミユはこの世のすべてのものが自分のためにあると思い込んでいる子だから、ケントのことも、と考えると、私は気が気ではない。私はケントと結婚するのよ。確かにまだ正式なプロポーズはされてないけど、二人の間のやりとりとかでわかるし、お互いの両親も。はいはい、千夏は思い込み強いタイプだもんね。4年も付き合ったら絶対プロポーズされるって信じないとやってられないか。 ケントもかわいそうだわ。千夏より可愛い子がいるのにね。思い込みの強さはもう仕方ないのかもしれないが、最後に露骨に嫌な言葉を付け加えるのも忘れない、その根性。ミユだって私だって一般的な顔立ちなのは変わらないのに、ミユの言われのない自信には呆れて物も言えない。だけど、ミユは一通り満足そうにクスクス笑うと、あっと何か思いついたようにスマホを取り出した。今日遊んだ記念にツーショット撮ろう。はい、笑って。は？遊んだって、私は普通に自分の部屋で勉強してるだけなんだけど、しかも遊んだ記念って10代みたいなこと。いいからいいから、撮るよー。ミユは連写の設定にしていたのか、バシャバシャと長い間スマホのシャッターが切られ続ける。ねえ、もういい加減にして。今日は座学で知識をつける日って決めたのよ。大した用事がないなら帰ってくれない？何よ、思い込み激しい上にケチだな。まあ、いっか。ミユも飽きたし帰ろうっと。普段はケントの勉強に付き合って遠出をすることもあるけど、今日はケントと予定が合わなかった。だから家でしっかり資料や教材を読み込もうとしていたのに。だけど、ミユはいつもに比べればあっさりめに帰ってくれたので、私はほっとして自分の勉強の続きに集中できたのだった。だけどその夜、私は夕食と入浴を済ませてリラックスタイムで SNS を見ていた。同級生はみんな旅行や資格試験など自分のために時間を有意義に使った報告が上がっていて、私のモチベーションも上がる。だけど、そんな投稿の中で、ミユの投稿だけ異彩を放っていた。ミユのアップする内容はほとんどが自撮り。しかもその中に、ちょっと、これ私と昼間撮った写真じゃない。ミユは、幼馴染の親友と題して私とのツーショットを上げている。だけど、自分だけバリバリの加工を施し、私は半目で変な表情をしている写真をチョイスしていた。ああ、だから連写してたのか。いつもこうなんだから。もう諦めるか。自分の顔写真を晒されたのは嫌だけど、ミユの幼馴染をやっていると、こんなことは日常茶飯事なのだった。感覚が麻痺した私は、ミユと戦うよりも、諦めることを選んでしまった。だけどその翌週、私はミユの許しがたい投稿を見つけることになる。今日も忙しかった。しっかりと仕事をこなし、帰宅後の隙間時間で自分の立てた計画通りに勉強を進めた私は、寝る前のリラックスタイムで、やはり SNS を流し見していた。指輪見に行ってきた。最初に目に飛び込んできたのは、ミユのそんな投稿だった。写真を見ると、ブランドのジュエリーショップで、ミユが自撮りしていて、そのすぐ隣には男性の後ろ半身が見切れて写っている。よかった。ミユも彼氏ができたんだ。これでケントに変な執着されずに。私は自分の目を疑った。後ろ半身写っている男性は、どう見てもケントが愛用しているカバンを下げ、これまたケントが愛用している腕時計をつけている。どういうこと？これって絶対ケントよね。頭が混乱していると、眺めていたスマホが突然着信を受けて震えた。相手はケントだ。まさかのタイミングでかかってきて、私はかなり警戒しながら電話に出る。もしもし？あ、千夏？ちょっと知らせておきたいことがあって。知らせるって？ミユの思わせぶりな投稿を見た後で、私は悪い方にドキドキした。だが、ケントの話は、実に驚く内容だった。実は今日、千夏に送る婚約指輪を見に行ったんだ。千夏が希望していたブランドの店まで行って。そうなの？私は、彼が指輪を見に行ってくれた喜びと、そこにミユがいることへの疑問が次々湧き上がり混乱してしまった。意見を聞きたくて、私の幼馴染に声をかけたでも言うのなら、いい気はしないがまだわかる。だが、ミユは自分の指輪を見に行ったと SNS に書いている。数々の疑問は ケントからの説明ですぐに解消した。百貨店に着いた時にミユさんに声をかけられたんだ。何をしているのか聞かれたから、正直に婚約指輪を見に来たって言ったら、そこからミユさんがずっとついてくるんだよ。頼みもしてないのに。しかも、なんでか知らないけど、自分がつけるならこういうデザインがいいとか口出ししまくられてさ、結局ゆっくり選べなかったんだ。ミユが？ああ。しかも諦めて百貨店を出た後、一緒にランチしてくれないと許さないって道端で号泣し始めて、拉致が開かないからさっさとランチだけして逃げてきたんだ。変な誤解があるといけないから、サプライズでプロポーズができなくても千夏に全部報告しておこうと思ってさ。
そうだったの。教えてくれてありがとう、ケント。ミユ、多分その時に撮ったケントとの写真を SNS に載せてるわ。指輪見に行ってきたって、まるでケントと付き合ってるみたいに。
え？写真撮ってたの？しかもそんな風に SNS にアップするなんて、なんていうか、ミユさんちょっと怖い人だな。ケントが怖がるのもわかる。一度、うちでミユと遭遇した時に、ベタベタして離れなかったのもそうだし、ケントの収入などしつこく聞いていたのだ。ケントも、ミユがお金目当てで近寄ってきていることを察しているだろう。私だって、ミユの暴走っぷりが怖い。どうしたものかと二人で頭を悩ませていると、ケントが、よしと何かを決断した。千夏、僕たちきちんと婚約して結婚に向けて具体的に動き出そう。本当はおしゃれなレストランで指輪を渡しながらって考えてたけど、指輪も二人で見に行った方が絶対にいいよね。
ケント、嬉しい。結婚することが大切だから、プロポーズのシチュエーションなんて気にしないでね。
よかった。じゃあ早速今度の休み、勉強は休みにして指輪を見に行こう。そんなわけで怪我の巧妙。ミユの不穏な行動がきっかけになり、私とケントは正式に婚約をしたから面白いものだ。指輪を用意することだけではない。会社を退職するタイミングや入籍日、結婚後に住む新居や式場の下見など、決めることの連続でかなり忙しい日々が始まった。だけど、幸せいっぱいの私とケントは、二人で協力して楽しく準備をしている。だがその裏で、ミユの行動は日々エスカレートしていった。私は、ミユがこれ以上何かしでかさないか監視する目的で、SNS をチェックしていたんだけど、ミユの投稿はほとんど支離滅裂だった。ストーカー怖い。ミユの彼氏を自分の婚約者と思い込んでる。とか、幼馴染に婚約者を狙われるの辛い。とか、まるで私とミユの立場を逆転させたかのよう。まあ、ミユの寄稿は今のところ SNS 上だけ。実害もないし、放っておくことにしていたんだけど、ある日、私はミユの許しがたい投稿を目の当たりにしてしまった。ストーカーはこいつです。なんとミユは私の写真を上げてストーカーだと名指ししてきたのだ。これには私もたまったものではなく、すぐさまミユに抗議の電話をかけた。ちょっとミユ、いい加減にしなさいよ。あの投稿を消して。はぁ？怖い。ストーカーって事実を言ったら逆ギレしてくるって本当なんだ。相変わらずの思い込み。私はミユの思い込みを今日で終わらせないと真剣な声で話し始めた。私とケントは正式に婚約したの。は？婚約指輪ももう手元にあるわ。式の日取りも新居も私が退職する日ももう決まっているの。ケントと結婚するなんて妄想はもうやめて。信じらんない。ふざけるな、このブサイク。最低女。ミユはめちゃくちゃな罵倒を一方的に叫び続けるといきなり電話を切った。それからミユは私の前に姿を現すことがなくなった。だけど、SNS での嫌がらせはずっと続いている。というか、激化してしまったのだ。婚約者を奪った千夏、許せない、とか、幼馴染に裏切られて辛い毎日を送っている、とか、加工された自分の泣き顔の写真とともにアップしまくる毎日。私のところには、ミユの投稿を信じた見ず知らずの人たちからの誹謗中傷が殺到した。どうしてこんなことに？だけど、こんなのも 真に受けてたら病んでしまう。しばらく SNS は放置ね。結婚して引っ越せば、みゆとリアルでの関わりも薄くなる。それに SNS アカウントだって私は見る専門だから決しても惜しくはない。私はみゆからの嫌がらせをなるべく忘れるようにして、式や引っ越しの準備、仕事の引き継ぎに没頭することにした。いよいよ結婚式当日がやってきた。私もケントも親戚だけではなく、親しい友人をたくさん招待したけど、もちろんみゆは呼んでいない。どんなトラブルになるかわからないから、結婚式の日程も明かさないよう、私の家族にも念押しし、友人たちにも決して喋らないよう頼んでおいた。その会もあって、式もつつがなく終わり、いよいよ披露宴が始まった。お世話になった人もたくさん招待したから、披露宴ではみんなに楽しんでもらいたい。ワクワクしながらケントと入場し、高砂に着く。まずはお願いしていた乾杯の挨拶だ。私たちのテーブルやゲストのテーブルにシャンパンが注がれた、その瞬間だった。待って、ケントさん、早まらないで。私たちが入場したメインの扉が勢いよく開いた。勢いよく飛び込んできたのは、真っ白なドレスワンピースを着たミユだ。ミユ？どうして？驚く私をよそに、ミユは息を弾ませ、目を潤ませながらケントを見つめた。ケントさん、本物の花嫁はミユよ。こんな見た目が終わってる女を選ぶなんて信じられない。お願いだから目を覚まして。式場のスタッフが止めに入るけど、どきなさいよと突き飛ばすのだった。すごい力でスタッフさんの体が吹っ飛んだぐらいだ。ミユは目をつり上げて、どんどん私たちのところに近づいてくる。ミユと初めて会ったとき、ミユを見つめるケントさんの眼差しで全てが分かったの。ミユたち惹かれ合ってるって。お願い、顔の悪い女に騙されないで。ミユを未来の社長夫人にしてください。ミユは驚いて固まるケントの手を取ると、わけのわからない逆プロポーズのようなことをした。私はケントと同じくあっけに取られていたけど、はっと我に返ってミユを止めようとする。やめてミユ。ケントは私と結婚したのよ。諦めて現実を見て。は？現実？何言ってんの？あんたが私からケントさんを横取りしたんだろうが。てか、何そのダッサいドレス。千夏ってマジでセンスも終わってるね。ダサいドレスしか選べないブサイクは出て行きなさい。ひどい暴言を吐くと、ミユは私が持っていたシャンパングラスをひったくると、素早く中身を私の着ていたドレスにかけた。あ！ドレスが。大切な純白のドレスにシャンパンをかけられたショックで、私が思わず涙ぐむと、ミユは勝ち誇って高笑いする。あははは。汚いドレスが安いシャンパンかぶってさらに汚くなっちゃった？てか、このシャンパン臭くない？乾杯のシャンパンケチるって千夏、どれだけケチなの？私からケントさんを奪うのに必死で、披露宴で出すもののクオリティには頭を回せなかったのね。最低だ。SNS で誹謗中傷の種をまくに飽き足らず、披露宴に乗り込んでこんなことまで。絶対に許さない。私やケント、それからケントの身内が大切にしているものを一つのみならず、二つも粗末に扱うなんて。今から私が自分のやったことすべてをじっくり反省させてやるわ。私は落ち着くために深呼吸をして、目に浮かんだ涙をハンカチで拭った。ミユ、あなた最低ね。ケントのご実家の皆さんが丹精込めて作ったシャンパンまで貶めるなんて。へえ？案の定、ミユは何のことやらわからずきょとんとしている。ミユらしいといえばらしいが、ケントの家がどんな仕事をしているか一度も気にしたことがないのだろう。一体何の社長夫人になるつもりでいたんだ。ミユ、ケントのご実家は歴史のあるワイナリーなの。今日乾杯からお食事に合わせるものから、すべてケントのご実家が大切に作ったワインなのよ。それを。私がここまで説明して、やっと事態が飲み込めたらしい。ミユは目を白黒させて、握ったままのシャンパングラスを見つめた。 ケントさんのうちってやっぱすごいんだ。じゃあ、これもすごいシャンパンだったのね。通りで香りが高くて色も素敵なはずだわ。そのダサすぎもさすぎなドレスも上等なシャンパン被ってマシになったじゃん。自力で取り返したつもりでいるらしい。再びミユは大笑いしてみせる。黙りなさい、ミユ。このドレスはね、ケントのお母様から借り受けたものなのよ。へ？高砂から一番遠くに座るケントのお母様は、ドレスが台無しになったことで、目をハンカチで押さえている。それを見た私の心も張り裂けそうだ。私が言葉に詰まると、隣にいたケントが険しい顔でミユを睨んだ。ミユさん、今あなたがシャンパンをかけたドレスは、アンティークのレースを使ったかなり貴重なものなんだ。この汚れを抜くのにどれほどの手間がかかるか。その説明を聞いて、ミユはさっと顔色を悪くした。さすがお金目当てでケントに近づいただけはある。自分にクリーニング代の請求が回ってくる可能性にすぐ思い至ったのだろう。できればシャンパンをかける前にそこまで気づいて欲しかったけど。知らない。そもそも千夏の顔がダサくてもさいのが悪いんじゃない。千夏が着たらどんな高級ドレスも思わず汚したくなるほどダサく見えるわよ。ミユは悪くない。なんて失礼なの？そもそも呼んでもいないのに人の披露宴に紛れ込んでドレスを汚したばかりか、人の顔についてあれこれ言って、何様なの？ミユは世界一可愛いからブサイクに何を言っても許されるの。呼んでない人間があっさり忍び込めるような式場を選んでる時点で何されても文句言えないわよ。やっぱりミユは悪くない。ドレスのクリーニングとか知らないから。ここまで来てまだ言い逃れ。ミユは楽しそうに私に向かって舌を出した。私はもう全身が震えてきて、うっかり手が出そうだった。この調子に乗りまくった幼馴染をどうしてやろうか。私が考えていると、ミユの後ろから大きな声が聞こえてきた。もう我慢ならん。おい、ダサいのはどっちだ？そんな品のない格好をして。うちの姪のドレスを品よく着こなしている千夏さんとは比べ物にならん。大おじさん。親族席から立ち上がってこちらにやってきたのは、ケントのお母様の大おじさんだった。つまりケントのおじいさんの弟ということになるんだけど、大おじさんは若い頃、ケントのおじいさんと一緒にワイナリーを立ち上げると、精力的に働いて、日本でもトップクラスのワイナリーに成長させた。80歳になった今でも、精力的に海外に視察に行くなどして、ワインへの愛は、創業者一族の誰よりも強い。そして、大おじさんには子供がいないからか、姪であるケントのお母様と、ケント本人をものすごく可愛がっている。だから、ケントのお母様のドレスを台無しにし、披露宴をめちゃくちゃにしたミユを、仇のように睨みつけた。こいつはケントが散々わしに相談してきてたストーカー女だな。成敗してくれる。ストーカー？聞き捨てならないわね。ストーカーは千夏じゃない。ケントが大おじさんにストーカーの相談をしていたとは私も初耳。驚いて成り行きを見守っていると、大おじさんはミユの悪行を大声で語り始めた。あんた、ケントと千夏さんの婚約が整った後から、ケントの家にずーっと張り付いていただろう。毎日誰かに見張られている気がするってケントが怯えるから、わしは優秀な探偵をしこたま雇って、逆にストーカーの身辺を徹底的に洗い出したんじゃ。あんたのストーカー行為は全部バレとる。今日この式場に潜り込めたのも、いつものように徹夜でケントの家の前の電柱に張り付いとったからだな。電柱に張り付いていたと言われたミユは、さすがに恥ずかしい気持ちが湧いたのか真っ赤になった。式場中がざわつく中、私はケントにそっと耳打ちする。そうだったの？ああ、千夏にこれ以上心配かけたくなくて黙ってたけど、ポストを漁られたこともあったし、ストーカーについてはかなり悩んでたんだ。ケントは私に向かって小さな声で返事をしたけど、どうやらミユに聞こえたらしい。ミユは真っ赤な顔でこっちに切れかかってきた。ミユストーカーじゃないっつってんじゃん。ストーカーって事実を言ったら逆ギレしてくる。だったかしら？今のミユにそっくりそのままお返しするわ。逆ギレしないで。 自分のやったことを素直に認めなさい。はぁ？なんなの？マジでムカつく。私に言われても逆上するばかりのミユ。そんなミユに対して、ケントは静かに語りかけた。ミユさん、僕はあなたの付きまといで精神的苦痛を味わいました。僕はミユさんに好意を持ったことなんて一度もない。迷惑です。今日もここまでやられてもう黙っていられない。必ず訴えます。迷惑とまで言われたミユは途端に顔をぐしゃぐしゃにして泣き始めた。迷惑？なんで訴えるとか言うのよ。嫌だ。なんで？ミユはケントさんのお嫁さんになりたかっただけなのに。ひどい。SNS で炎上させてやるから。ミユ、その SNS のことだけど、私もミユを名誉毀損で訴えるわ。は？私の宣言に、ミユは器用にも涙をすぐさま止めて私を睨みつける。私はミユの嘘の投稿で、たくさんの誹謗中傷を受けることになった。顔写真まで晒されてるから、普段外を歩くのも怖くなる日もあったの。弁護士の先生に相談したら協力してくれるって。待ってよ。小さい頃からの友達じゃん。千夏のことつぶやいた投稿は全部消すから、お願い。二人して訴えるとか怖いこと言わないで。ね？何を言ってるの？怖かったのは私たちの方よ。SNS で顔を晒されたのも、誹謗中傷も。何より、ミユの根拠のない思い込みが怖かったわ。謝るってば。ごめん、ね？ごめんで済んだら警察はいらない。そんなに軽く謝って許されるわけあるか？そんな、ミユが謝ってるのに。半分ふてくされかけたミユの横で、大おじさんがやれやれとため息をつく。ドレスのクリーニング代も請求するし、式を台無しにした慰謝料も払ってもらわねばならんの。結婚式場を妨害したのだから、刑事犯罪になる可能性もあるな。千夏さん、うちの優秀な弁護士に頼んで徹底的にやりなさい。大おじさんが追加したミユの罪状を聞いて、ミユ本人はガタガタ震え出した。ごめんなさい。ミユもここまでやるつもりはなかったの。なんか、テンション上がっちゃって、ほら、結婚式だからおめでたい雰囲気に流されたのかも。何がテンション上がっちゃったよ。テンション上がっても、普通は人のドレスにシャンパンをかけたりしないの。出て行きなさい。そして、弁護士さんからの連絡を首を洗って待ってなさい。いえ。震えながら泣くミユは、やっとおとなしくなり、スタッフに確保されて、外に引きずり出されていった。私とケントは、しらけてしまった会場に向けて謝り倒した。だけど、ゲストのみんなは、このトラブルを私たちのせいじゃないと受け入れてくれ、場の空気は、なんとか元の和やかなものに戻ってくれた。そして私は、お色直しとドレスの応急処置を兼ねて、披露宴会場を一度後にしたのだった。その後、ミユのご両親が私の実家まで謝罪に訪れた。私の両親も披露宴には当然参加していたため、ミユのしでかしたことは知っていたけど、ミユのご両親まで責めるつもりはなかった。ミユのご両親によると、ミユは感動し、家から追い出したとのこと。様々なものの支払いが迫るユミは、お金のかからない実家を出て行きたくないとダダをこねまくったらしいけど、そんなミユにご両親の雷が落ちた。泣く泣く家を出たミユは、田舎の築年数がかなりあるアパートに引っ越したらしい。そして、私との約束で、ミユは SNS 上で自分が嘘をついて私に誹謗中傷が向くように仕向けたことを告白した。すると当たり前だけど、ミユに非難が集中することに。日々届く怒りのメッセージに恐怖しているみたいだけど、私と約束した期間は SNS のアカウントを消せない。ネットの誹謗中傷に怯えて過ごす恐怖を少しは分かってくれているといいけど。さらにミユは私を侮辱し、披露宴の邪魔をしたことへの慰謝料を支払わなければならない。それからドレスのクリーニング代も。ケントからはストーカー行為への慰謝料も請求される予定だし、正社員で働いているとはいえ、ミユの今後は真っ暗だ。しかも、そのことを誰かに愚痴りたくてもできないのが現状だ。なぜなら、幼馴染の私に対する数々の嫌がらせは、披露宴に出席した私の友達を通じて、瞬く間に拡散された。 私と共通の友達が多かったのが運の尽き。みゆは友達のほとんどを失い、孤独に職場とアパートの往復のみで日々を消費しているらしい。まあすべて自分がやったことの償いだから歯を食いしばってでも耐えるべきだ。私はいろいろあった結婚式を終えて、ケントの地元がある県に引っ越した。その土地での暮らしも、ワイナリーでの仕事も、初めてだらけのことばかりだったけど、ケントがいつもそばで支えてくれるから楽しくやれている。さらに私とケントは、今までの勉強の成果が、ワイナリーの仕事に携わるようになってから、すぐ親戚たちに仕事ぶりを認められて、海外視察に頻繁に送り出してもらえるようになった。海外の広大なブドウ畑や何百年も続くワイナリーを見学すると、ますます知見は広がるし、やる気も湧いてくる。これからケントと手に手を取って、おじいさんの代から大切に守られてきたワイナリーをもっと多くの人に知ってもらえるよう頑張っていきたい。
I wear a sharp suit and sit up straight to work. I want to be smart. The words, "that kind of lifestyle is uncool," keep echoing in my head. It's an ironic time. This is an unforgettable event that changed me from the inside out. My name is Mitoko. I'm 31 years old. I graduated from an ordinary university and got a job at an ordinary company. Looking at the numbers makes my head spin. My husband is Kuromochi Tahiko. He goes by Take-chan. He's 3 years older than me and is a somewhat famous salaryman who has achieved success. I met him at a hiking club that I joined after being invited by my company. I thought it would be a good idea to climb Mount Fuji at least once. That's how I met Take-chan. Apparently his reasons for joining were almost the same as mine. And so we got married. The deciding factor in our marriage was that I got pregnant. It's not that unusual these days, but we were so busy that we hadn't been able to properly introduce him to my parents, so we rushed through a grand wedding ceremony. My husband's parents didn't look too happy, but they seemed to be looking forward to seeing their baby's face. I'm currently 4 months pregnant. Holding my growing belly, I'm struggling with numbers again today. I graduated from the Faculty of Business Administration, but lately my eyes have been hurting so much. Sigh. The world is ruled by numbers. Today's stock prices are falling, and my husband is watching TV on his smartphone while munching on bread. This is what I see in the morning at my house. I currently live in my husband's apartment. It's a 2K apartment in Tokyo. It's quite spacious, so it's just right for the two of us, and the view is great, so I like it here. I was surprised to hear that my husband's parents are paying for it. He's quite the rich kid. He apparently went to Y University. It's a bit strange for me, who only went to an ordinary university. My husband is the oldest of 3 siblings, with a younger brother and sister, and his father is apparently a CEO of some company. It seems like they're from an elite family. I don't really know his younger brother and sister. We only met briefly at the ceremony and exchanged a few words. I'd like to get a little closer to him since we're on a special occasion, but it seems like he doesn't want to. I'm an only child, so I'd like to have a sibling. It's hard to decide when to get older. Yeah, it's a time when you have a husband, so if you don't watch out, you'll lose out. I made a point of telling him. I stared at the arrows of numbers on the TV screen. My eyes were stinging. The conversation between economics majors is quite high level. My husband sniffed proudly and drank his coffee. I shouldn't have wondered if we were talking about something so high level. He's always like this. I poured drip coffee into the cup he offered me. He likes to grind the beans and drink the coffee. I was taught things like how many times to grind and how much water to use. Honestly, it's annoying. I have a censor for my choices. My husband gulped down another big drink with a proud look on his face. Sorry, take Chan. The number of times I pull back because it's annoying. It's a little small though. He doesn't notice at all. It hadn't even been a year since we met until we got married. It feels like we were always in a flurry. Take Chan is good at dressing, understanding, and naturally pays for dates. I don't really like making men pay, but when I see him paying in cash like this, I can see the value in the ticket. Hard is so pretentious. That's what Take Chan laughs at. I think it's less classy to wave bills around, but people with money have a more relaxed attitude. I was a little disappointed when I found out that my parents were rich, but he's proud of having graduated from Y University, and he tends to talk about his academic background whenever he talks. He's a show-off who suddenly becomes small-minded when he comes into contact with people like his siblings. That's what makes him cute. He loves Y University and sings the song Komeito at karaoke. Once at the beginning and once at the end. He puts his arm around my shoulder and shakes it while repeating the word Komeito. I'm not from there though. But that's also kind of cute. He's been very kind to me in the past. A decent restaurant, high-end brand presents. He's the kind of guy who makes you feel like a princess, and as a commoner, I kind of had a bit of a crush on celebrity-type people. So being next to him makes me feel so much better. It felt good. This is a scene from one of our dates. Look at this. While we were wandering around the shopping mall, Take Chan muttered to himself as he looked at the old man cleaning. Hey, Suzuki-san, your work is sloppy. Be a little more careful. He was being scolded by a young man who was about the same age as his son. I'm sorry. He bowed deeply as he polished the floor. I don't want to be like that. He spat it out in disgust. I couldn't respond because my words were numb. He doesn't have the forehead. An old man who can only do that kind of work. I never really paid much attention to it. It's a job that someone has to do, and everyone has their own circumstances that make them do it. I chose my workplace, but it's not a job I want to do. I want to be smart. That kind of life is uncool. His profile, with his chest out and his nose snorting, was sharp. I thought he was cool, but at the same time, I felt a sense of unease. When Take Chan was asked if he enjoyed his current workplace, he hesitated, but it was rewarding. He smoothed his hair back and let it flow. I'll get promoted to section manager or department manager soon. My potential is more than this. He's incredibly confident. I feel motivated when he thinks that way. Take Chan is amazing. I have no confidence in myself. No, Motoko-chan, she's my girlfriend. Don't look down like that. He pulled my chin up slightly. It's no good to have none of the three. You have to be cool and smart. Take Chan looked radiant as he spoke those words. I caught sight of the cleaning man disappearing into the background on the bridge of my vision. I shouldn't end up like that. That's how I felt at the time. It happened a week before I found out I was pregnant. Preparations for the wedding began in a hurry, and for the time being, we moved into Take Chan's spacious lot. He said he would move to a new house once the child was born. I think this would be fine, but Take Chan insists on raising the child in a more spacious space. My parents were surprised by the sudden news of my marriage, but they were more relaxed about the pregnancy. My parents had a hard time having children. I myself am an only child. My father smiled, saying it would save him a lot of work. My father and mother are gardeners and work part-time to support the family. I happened to be walking in the park and was telling him about the gardener, who was doing a pre-arrangement. He said, "Wow, he's a gardener," and looked at the garden from a distance. His gardening skills were impressive, as he neatly cut the branches. That's right. He looks like a craftsman. Wow. A craftsman, huh? Eating in his hands. Wow. Tae-chan was lost in thought as he looked at the garden he was selecting. Oh, I thought it was sticking out a little, but he cut the branch there with a snap. A magnificent garden was completed. Wow, said Tae-chan. That's right, we said, smiling at each other. And so I had another chance to introduce him to my parents. Since Toki had been unwell, we had only met at the ceremony. We drove through the residential area outside in Tae-chan's car. The winding, narrow lot. I could tell he was getting irritated. I'm sorry. We finally arrived at my family home in an ordinary downtown area. It was a small house. No matter how you look at it, it was simple and quiet, and it was a house you could find anywhere. It was a district that gave off a Showa-era vibe, and it had been 30 years. Oh, was 30 years ago the Heisei era? My father's light truck was loaded into the cart. Tae-chan got out of the car and looked up at our house. It felt a little strange. When I walked through the front door and said, "I'm home," my mother greeted me. "Oh my, welcome back. It's been a long time, Tahiko-san." "It's been a long time," she said, barely a word. "What was it?" "You've been acting strange since earlier." And then my father greeted me. "Welcome," he said with a smile, his dark skin. It seems that the mood has deepened even further. "It's a request. I'm sorry I couldn't entertain you much." "It's nothing." I go to my mother while watching my father and Tae-chan greet each other. A sweet aroma wafts faintly from the kitchen. Was this the reason my mother was so excited? How wonderful. I used to eat this a lot in the past. My mother's homemade apple pie. It's very delicious even though it's so busy. I'll make coffee now. I help, but my mother is also efficient. The preparation is done quickly, and there are enough cups of coffee with shiny black surfaces for everyone. I worked hard. It's been a while. My mother's apple pie. Seriously, Tae-chan doesn't follow the conversations between family members. He sits at the dining table, staring intently at the apple pie, and doesn't look back. What's been going on? He takes a bite of the apple pie. Yeah. Is this what mom's cooking tastes like? I feel like I'm back in elementary school. But he still won't pick up a fork. He doesn't even take a sip of his coffee. I wonder if he doesn't really like this kind of thing. My mother looks at Tae-chan's face. That can't be right. He eats sweets a lot too. What's wrong, you know? Huh, no, I'm kind of taken aback, and his expression starts to cloud over. What are you talking about? Excuse me, but your father is a master craftsman, right? Did he go to some kind of school? The moment I hear Tae-chan say that, I sense something unpleasant in the air. No, my father's acquaintance is a master craftsman, and I trained there. My father doesn't talk much about himself. My mother says he trained there for about 10 years. He studied diligently and acquired various qualifications. The only thing he doesn't have is a construction management qualification. He got a job at his current company, and a while later he met my mother. I hear it was quite a romantic encounter, but the two of them refuse to tell me because they don't want to waste it. Well, I'm not really interested in my parents' romance. So, right after graduating from high school? I only graduated from junior high school. My father, who was like a grandfather to me, passed away early, and my father, who had just graduated from junior high school, and my father's older brother, who had just graduated from high school, started working. Apparently, my father's mother was often sick at the time. There was no one who could earn money. Take Chan, who graduated from junior high school and has never been seen before, is in our family. This is a bad turn of events. He's the kind of person who is always fussy about academic background and such. I don't think he's going to make such unreasonable accusations about my parents. My mother, sitting next to my father, began to talk about her career, but it seemed like he was no longer listening. I still haven't touched the coffee or apple pie. I feel bad. I'm sorry. I'll be home for a bit today. So, Take Chan got up, and the family looked at each other in surprise. Hey, wait a minute. I hurriedly followed after Take Chan. As he ran through the front door at a speed that seemed like he was running away, I finally grabbed his arm. What's wrong? The front door closed behind Jeepitan. He took a moment to catch his breath and looked up at the house again. This house is second-hand. This is a shikuya. He used to live in an apartment. There was no emotion in his expression as he slowly looked at me. If there was, it was a light-hearted start. Is this what they call a cold stare? Let's get a divorce. Actually, I want a divorce. Yes. I gasped at his sudden words. My husband's expression was serious. He said it with a more serious and smirking face than usual. I'm sorry. I can't live with Moto-chan anymore. I'm being taken away by him. What's wrong all of a sudden? Are you serious about getting a divorce? I'm serious. I can't live with Moto-chan. My head is a mess. What is this guy suddenly saying? Dad only graduated from junior high school, right? That's true, but if Moto graduated from college, it'll definitely be passed down to the children. Hannah, what are you talking about? Are you serious? I am. Because the baby in my belly is definitely an idiot. I can't love a child like that. It's beyond despair. This guy is serious. My head is starting to hurt. My eyes are a little dizzy and my feet are starting to wobble. Hey, think about it logically. What do you mean by common sense? It's hereditary. Personality, looks, and even degenerate traits are hereditary. My father and I look alike. Moko-chan has her mother. Then my child will definitely inherit the idiot who dropped out of junior high school. What's with that mysterious theory? I can't believe it. Furthermore, we're poor. Even our coffee was instant. I only drink drip coffee. It really makes me want to hold my head in my hands. And what's with Dad's fingers? I thought he was looking at Leppy, but he was actually looking at you. If you look at Dad's fingers, you could hurt your fingers. That's the last thing I wanted to hear. You said that the shy craftsman was cool. Take off the front. That's a job for idiots with no foreheads. Get off. Dad's not an idiot. He knows a lot of things I don't. How hard my parents worked to get me to college. That's why I'm getting a divorce. I love Jen Chan, but I can't love an idiot. His words, spoken with such a serious face, made my veins feel like they were going to burst. No, they were already a little burst. The simmering heat of magma in my stomach was released with a deep sigh from the bottom of my stomach. I felt incredibly weak. Yes, I understand. Let's get a divorce. Upon hearing my words, my husband, Moto Takehiko, Motokuzu, waved goodbye with the brightest smile he could muster and left. What was with that smile? It was unbelievable. I couldn't bring myself to ride in the same car. I'll go to the apartment later to get my things. That's good. Before the new place is ready. It's that scum's house. There. I wanted to take a shower right now and wash off all the scum that's left. There's no such scum. The apple pie I had so much to eat had turned to magma in my stomach. Then the divorce proceedings began in a flurry. We got divorced when I was 2 months pregnant and 4 months pregnant. I felt so helpless that I started to doubt humanity. It was because he was so out of it. No, I think this guy is special, but he cleverly hid the reason from my parents. Of course, I am the one who is serious about the baby in my womb. I don't think he wants this child, but he responded well to the slightly high alimony I asked for. His parents didn't say anything either. It's depressing to think that that scumbag is probably feeding him all sorts of lies, but it doesn't matter anymore. I can't help but feel relieved when I think that the alimony will come out of my parents' pockets anyway. In the end, that guy didn't hurt at all. Even if I tried to punish him, he was incredibly thick-skinned. Maybe he was a bit of a dangerous person with that sullen look and refreshing smile. That's what I think now. A while later, my child was born, and he was a beautiful boy. His name was Yuto. He had grown up to be a very good child, without a shred of the genetic traits that the scumbag had said. He listens to what I say and is very attached to my mother. He helps me out a lot and is considerate of me, and his gentle smile is so healing. With the help of my parents, we lived together for a while. When I had more money, I moved to an apartment in Tokyo with you. It's hard to tell how much city life, surrounded by new things, will stimulate Yuto. That's why parents need to keep a close eye on him. I can't rely on my parents forever. Time passed, and when Yuto was 8 years old, we went to Disneyland for the 3rd time in my life. It was Yuto's first time. Disneyland is a sparkling dream world. I get excited every time I come here. It just makes me feel excited. Yuto pulls on my arm and his eyes sparkle as he says, "Next, that, next, this." I'm so glad we came. He won't get lost anymore. I have to keep a close eye on him. Then the paper cup of juice in Yuto's hand turns into a shell. "I'll throw it away," my son said with a smile. He seemed to be having fun even though he was just throwing away the trash. The trash can was right in front of him. As I watched Yuto's back as he ran off, I heard a voice saying, "Hey, isn't that Moto-chan?" And turned around. He was wearing his getup. Kurimochi Tahiko, the man I know as a scumbag in my mind, was standing there. He's the worst. The father, a craftsman, showed a cheerful and refreshing smile. Scumbags are on a whole other level when it comes to my house. It's scary, scary. This is my current wife, Kiko. She's rich, thanks to her mobile phone. The woman I was introduced to was a simple-looking person. However, she was dressed very elegantly and her demeanor exuded a sense of cleanliness. She certainly looked like the daughter of a good family. Yuto approached from behind and asked, "Mom, what's wrong?" Holding my son in my arms, I bowed slightly to Kiko. "Let's just leave quickly." When I looked up, Kiko blinked in disbelief and began to shake her body slightly. What was going on? I don't think we knew each other. "Oh, I can't believe we met here. Do you remember?" I'm taken aback by Kiko's energy. "I think this is our first meeting." "Huh? Have we met at work before?" "Oh, it was Yuto who called out to the older sister that time." "What? That was my voice and that of a piece of trash. No way, I'm going to be in harmony with a guy like this." "Did you miss me? Thank you so much for that time. No amount of gratitude will be enough." Kiko ran up to Yuto and took his hand, tears welling up in her eyes. What on earth is going on? Tokiko actually told me the story. I heard the details of this story later. Yuta and Kyoko met at the station. One day, I was riding the train with Yu. When we arrived at a certain station and the doors opened, Yuto suddenly ran out a moment later. He looked back at me and my forgotten belongings, and his small back was running down the platform. I hurriedly got off the train and looked for Yuto, but there was no sign of him. Just as I was at a loss, my son suddenly came back. No, he shouldn't have. He just jumped off. But the old man had forgotten something, so I brought it to him. That was the most amazing smile. I couldn't help but be interested. I hadn't even noticed other people's luggage. He's the kind of kid who notices small things like that. Yuto knew that the old man was Kiko's father. As he was leaving the train, Yuto stopped him and handed him the big envelope. Apparently, he had met up with Kyoko, a subordinate at the same company, at that time. It seems that the father, who was an important contractee at a certain company, happened to be on the train and forgot something because his car wasn't available. It seems that it was something he needed for a meeting right after, and if it had been lost, there was a high possibility that he would have lost his head. Because of this, Yuto had apparently become a savior among Kyoko and her son. After handing it over, he left with a smile, saying that his mother was waiting for him, without even asking for thanks. He was like an angel. As expected of Yuto. Kiko-san picked up and told me all those things. I was interested in Yuto, but at the same time, I felt a sense of pride, which was typical of him. He's my child. Huh? Kiko-san's face clouded over at the sight of that scumbag saying it so proudly. Even if he wanted to brag, there's no way his current wife would be happy about it. As expected of my child. They're similar in many good ways. Now I'm feeling extremely uncomfortable. At this point, his words are meaningless. His way of raising the hatred is genius. I heard someone say, you said it was an awakening gene, but isn't that a dark person? And the scumbag turned around and gasped. He really is a dark person. It's been a while. The incredibly frank man approached the scumbag and smiled. It looks like he's here to fill up his tank. Are you his wife, girlfriend, or wife? Kiko-san is polite. The scumbag seemed a little surprised that Kiko-san reacted. I understand that it's hard to judge since I was there when I was little. My name is Matsuda. We were classmates in high school. That's amazing. He's going to die. Even when he's told that, Trash's expression is not good. We were famous for being stupid. The supplementary class is still stupid, but I can't say anything about other people. Matsuda laughed. He was refreshing and made me feel like he was someone I could get along with. But Santa and I are in the economics department, isn't it? Tokiko said, trying to talk. Trash's expression changed as if he was trying to suppress his sorrow. Huh, you're in sports, right? Hey! Spawn. Tokiko's words overlapped. Speaking of sports, it's a department that's said to be relatively easy to get into. It's also famous for not having that many applicants and being easy to get into. Rai is a department where people who study the body and sports belong. Trash has no interest. He's just a trash who used me. I heard from Trash that he was in the economics department, so I thought he was pretty good, but that wasn't the case. But he's pretty amazing. If he hadn't been able to get into Wydai, he would have been impressed. You stop it. It's true, isn't it? Matsuda-san is too blunt. If the other person wasn't a jerk, I'd want to tell him to stop. Since the other person is a jerk, he should have done it even more. Apparently, he studied so hard that he barely managed to get there. Because of this guy, he only had Y ranks to brag about. It seems his intelligence isn't as bad as they say either. Wait a minute. My phone's ringing. Hello. The jerk left with a trembling voice and a deliberate performance. His pathetic back, his confidence and pride shattered, grew smaller and smaller. Neither I nor Tomoko could find the next words. They were dumbfounded. Well, it was a refreshing ending. That guy was a cowardly jerk who only pretended to be and lied. Disneyland, the land of dreams. Maybe the jerk had finally woken up from his dream. Later, Denkiko-san and her father invited Yuto and me to dinner as a thank you. It was a very luxurious full-course French meal, but the taste was refreshing. But Yuto was enjoying the food with sparkling eyes and the atmosphere of the meal. I have to make sure to nurture this child's sensitivity. And the end of Kazuku Motahiko. This time, all the lies were exposed. Not only did Kiko hear directly the reason for my divorce, but her father was also furious. To be honest, that Zip wasn't that kind of guy. Of course, Kiko got divorced. Kiko's father, who had become the president, decided to terminate the contract with the company where Kuzu worked. This happened to Kuzu's father, in other words, his ex-father-in-law. Kuzu, who was originally incompetent, was a source of worry for his ex-father-in-law as well. It seems that he intended to train Kuzu over time, and he had her join his friend's company, but Kuzu remained a piece of trash no matter how many years passed. Kuzu was fired from the company after being accused of touching his ex-father-in-law's Gekurin and Kiko's father's Gekurin. And when he was moved, his financial support was stopped, and he now lives in a small apartment. Matsuda, who has resumed contact with him, says that he is attacked a lot every time they meet. He says that it is his grandmother's fault that he is a total loser. Apparently she was just a kind, simple country grandmother. On the other hand, his grandfather was a man who succeeded in business with just one machine. That was the reason why he was so obsessed with awakening genetics. He was moved and stopped being 4 years old. His good younger brother and sister were his enemies. He was a man who blamed everything on others and had no ambition and only had an inferiority complex. But you can't blame others for his personality. It was good until he worked hard and got into the Y class. Things didn't go well after that. Now that scumbag is apparently relying on Matsuda and diligently doing cleaning-like jobs that he doesn't want to do. There really is a problem. A mutation. He was a bit of a dangerous person after all. Tokiko and I became good friends. Kyoko, who is 1 year younger than him, looks up to me like an older sister. It's complicated. Tokiko is a bit naive and careless, so I can't take my eyes off her. She won't get lost. I have to look after her. My feelings had changed, and I started working hard. First, Yuto said he wanted to become a craftsman. It's a child's dream. There are many things that change along the way, but Yuto and I are proud of our work. That hasn't changed either. And then, when I was out with Kyoko, he said to the man directing traffic, "Thank you for your hard work." That was just one example. I was surprised. My father had told me that any job is respectable, so I should approach it with due consideration. He did just that. He's a real lady. That's right. There's no such thing as a cool job. When I say that, people who work hard are cool. Dad said, "Yeah." Tahiko couldn't help but laugh. I don't think there's anything more ironic than that. So I wonder what a real loser is doing now. I guess it all comes down to how you raise people. I'm grateful to my parents. I have to get through it on my own. Being cool doesn't matter. I have to steadily improve myself. Yuto cuts through the bond he received from his father, imitating a master craftsman. The sight of his son like that is truly dazzling. He is someone he wants to protect more than just his appearance. His weakness is sealed away, as his eyes are drawn to numbers. He believes that it is not numbers but bonds that rule the world. He becomes deeply engrossed in the thought.
Dad was on an affair trip and couldn't come to my wedding. That's why we all came here. This is a resort hotel in Okinawa. My husband didn't come back for his daughter's wedding. Sorry for the fun. You should feel the anger of your family and all your relatives. I'm Reko. I married my 56-year-old husband and quit my favorite job to focus on raising our 2 children. When I finished raising my children, I started working part-time at a nearby shopping mall and have been living a fairly fulfilling life. Even after getting married, my husband seems to only think about work. He's always on business trips all over the country and is hardly ever at home. He leaves all the household chores to me, neglecting child rearing, housework, and socializing with relatives, and I've been doing it all by myself. But I've given up, thinking that all couples of this age are the same. It's good that my husband is healthy and away from home. That's the kind of family life I have. I don't mind him loving his job, and I can't help but feel bad about not doing things around the house. But my husband's harsh way of speaking to his family is not a good thing. Hey, do that. You can't do anything without me telling you. All my colleagues' children go to famous companies. Compared to that, can't you guys be a little more gentle? Fortunately, my mother-in-law and other relatives are all kind to us. I'm sorry for leaving everything at home to you, Ri-chan, and for being so rude. If there's anything I can help you with, please let me know. Ri-chan, I'm sorry for being such a selfish brother. He never came to see Misato's sports day or Mino's piano recital. It was my brother-in-law, rather than my husband, who played with our children. Thank you. I was always grateful that I would consult with him if anything happened. Our house was at the peak of excitement. Tomorrow is the wedding. My daughter Misaki is getting married to Takumi, who is the same age as me and works at a travel agency. The two met through their hobby of scuba diving. They are looking forward to diving together in Hawaii, which they have always dreamed of. When he came to greet us for the first time, Takumi suddenly said at the front door that he would treasure Mi-san for the rest of his life. I bowed my head and said, "Please marry me." I thought he was such a serious person, but after meeting him a few times, I realized that his mother's fried chicken is really soft and delicious. I wonder if I'll make it with Misa next time. She started to smile fondly as she snacked on the food. Misa also said, "Your father is indifferent to his family. That's why I thought I would never get married. But I think that with Taku-kun we can live together and help each other out. If it's someone that a reliable daughter chooses, I'm sure we can build a happy family." As soon as Misa's engagement was decided, she reported it to her brother-in-law. He's not like his father at all. He's a kind person who is similar to his uncle. We only have sons, so I think of Misa as my real daughter. I don't really want to let her marry. My brother-in-law was in tears. When Taku-kun, a translator, came to visit us, my mother-in-law and brother-in-law came to our house and bombarded the young couple with questions. What do you like about Misa? Where will you live if you get married? What kind of family do you want to have? What do you like about Misa? There are many, but above all, I think it's that she has a strong sense of self and is reliable to be with. Misa seems to be clear and brave in everything. People say that Misa is reliable. I'll be nicer to my boyfriend. Don't say unnecessary things when you wake up. I'm always kind. Everyone felt happy when we talked about things that we didn't talk about. Seeing his fiancée answering every topic cheerfully and politely, my brother-in-law's eyes got teary again and he looked like a father. He was loved by everyone around him, but when he was in the 5th grade of elementary school, his beloved mother died of illness. After that, his father, a man, raised him alone with great difficulty. I will never forget that kindness. That's why he decided that if he had a family, he would protect it for the rest of his life. Taku's words made my heart warm. I'm sure his father is a strong and kind person too. I can tell by looking at him. And his father is now active as an executive at a large company. I have nothing but respect for his father, who does a great job at his job while also taking care of the house and raising children. Anyway, her husband, Taka, was there when we greeted each other and when his brothers-in-law came to visit. But he didn't seem to like what Taku's father said. He suddenly took a quick nap and muttered to himself that a job that can be done while taking care of children is probably not a big deal anyway. After dinner, we were checking the schedule for tomorrow's wedding when Tadashi, the eldest son, said, "Dad, it's not too late." It's true that my daughter's wedding is tomorrow morning, but I'm a little worried that he hasn't come back from his business trip to Okinawa by night. No matter how indifferent he is to us, it's unlikely that he would cancel the wedding at the last minute. Well, even my father wouldn't do that. If he did that, I'd be shocked. It's not enough to just be shocked. I'd be so embarrassed that even Taku's family would come and I'd cry. Even if my husband neglects his family, he'd leave everything behind and rush to his daughter's wedding. I called him on his smartphone many times. But no matter how many times I called him, he didn't even reply, let alone read the message. I was worried. I didn't think he had been involved in an accident. I was worried and contacted him many times after that. The company my husband Takashi works for is a company that manages resorts all over Japan. Takashi also regularly travels to various parts of Japan on business, but this business trip was a little strange. My husband said just a few days ago. The work he had been doing in Okinawa for the past few years has finally finished. He won't be going to Okinawa for a while. But yesterday he suddenly said he had work in Okinawa and left. My husband said it was only for one night so it was fine, but there was a possibility that the plane would not fly in Okinawa. I usually don't say anything sternly, but I desperately tried to stop him, saying that someone else could take his place. But my husband yelled at me. You don't understand, since you're living a lazy life every day without doing any work, but this project won't move without me. You'll be home on the day of the ceremony, so you have no complaints. Late at night, I finally got through on the phone. Don't call me so many times, I'm at work. I'll call you as many times as you want. Where are you now, Haneda? What's with that way of saying it? I came all the way here to work for you guys. I'm still in Okinawa, I'm not coming back tomorrow. What are you talking about? Are you not going to attend my daughter's wedding? Do you know what that means? Shut up. I'm not the one getting married, and it makes no difference whether I have a father or not. I can't take a break from work to see my daughter's wedding ceremony. Unlike you guys, I'm contributing to society. I'll be back on Monday. He said he'd talk about it when he got back and hung up the phone. I knew he was a selfish person, but he wasn't going to his daughter's wedding the day before. The wedding ceremony. His thoughts were beyond my imagination. My children shook me on the shoulders, worried that I was in a daze in a state of depression. And then I finally returned to full term. Dad is still in Okinawa. He's not coming back tomorrow. What? He's not going to the wedding. I'm so sorry. Mom, I'm fine. I hope Mom, my uncle's family, and my grandmother come. I never wanted you to come in the first place. It's a big deal to cancel on such an important day, so please forgive me. I blurted out these words to encourage my daughter, who must have been shocked. When my daughter Misa heard it, she said in an angry voice, "You're too nice, Mom. That person has been betraying our family for a long time." "What are you talking about?" I didn't understand what my daughter was saying at all. "I don't think that's the case, but I'll check it out." She told me to wait and showed me the screen of a social media account. There was a woman squinting at the window of a hotel somewhere, with the emerald-colored sea spreading out as far as the eye could see. It was my old friend Ka. "Mom, your smartphone was not working properly before, so you called this person from my smartphone, right?" At that time, I registered her phone number on my smartphone, and it started to show up in my SNS recommendations, so I followed her on SNS for some reason. Sometimes I see the clock of this person's poster in the picture. Ka is my best friend since we were students. We met in the same club and became close because we shared similar tastes in fashion and music. She was always funny and a good girl, but she had a bit of a problem. "That's nice, I want one too." She would say that and immediately envy other people's things and want them. Many people didn't like Kazu. "That star hunter will steal someone's boyfriend one day." Some even made that assertion. But I didn't care much and continued dating her even after we graduated. In the photo of the watch this time, she is married, so it's not unnatural for a man's item to be in the picture. But my daughter has the insight to notice small incongruities. The watch that has been reflected many times is certainly similar to the one her husband got as a president. She was bragging about it and got angry even if I just touched it. Misa continued her story. "So, when I looked back at the diary on SNS, I noticed that there were a lot of overlaps between my father's business trips and this person's travel destinations. Kazu and I have been friends since our school days. He has come to our house before. I can't believe it, she suspects that my father is cheating on me. My head is starting to panic. My eldest son, Masato, also knew about it from Misa. So she checked her friend Kazu's SNS. Last year, Ka bought a souvenir, which was unusual for her, and it was a Hokkaido cookie. She had a hard time buying it because of the limited hints. She thanked me and told me to eat it, but on the same day, her friend Ka also went to Hokkaido. She posted on SNS with a smile that it was a limited edition cookie that she had lined up with. Still, there is no conclusive evidence to identify her husband as cheating. Isn't it just a misunderstanding? Then Misa screamed, "Oh, a new post." A video was uploaded to SNS. The video started with Ka wearing a resort dress walking down the cobalt blue corridor of the hotel. Then she opened the door to her room and approached the window with a view of the sea. It was a video like the one celebrities do on TV when introducing their rooms. On the table by the window, there are 2 glasses and a bottle of high-end champagne. Then the scene changes. In the next scene, her friend Kazu is relaxing in her room, making a heart shape with his fingers, then blowing out the roses on the cake. Come to think of it, today was Kazu's birthday. And immediately after that, the face of the person taking the picture was reflected in a nearby mirror for a moment. What is this school? I can't believe it. There was a shocking image of my husband. My husband was wearing a pair of shorts with lace sewn onto a pale pink fabric and was taking a photo with a surprised expression. My lukewarm hope that it was a misunderstanding was blown away in an instant. What is this? I will never forgive him. I'm sorry, Mom. I should have said something before it got to this point. But I just couldn't say anything. I'm sorry too. I should have said something sooner. I was going to confront my dad after Mino's wedding. No, it's not something you should apologize for. I still don't understand, but I'll do something about it. I wonder when they've been cheating on each other. I was angry at myself for not realizing it. I wonder if they were laughing at me for not realizing anything until now. Misa, save this video. I will never, ever let this go. I quietly declared. Even though my body was shaking with anger, I was surprisingly calm. Tomorrow is the wedding. I quietly thought about what to do from now on. I have decided to never give up and stick to my will, and I am invincible. Do you have any ideas? Of course, I can't forgive him either. Thank you, Misa. But I don't want you to get involved when you get married and start a new family. I want you to take care of your father. What are you saying? Even Takumi, who will become my husband, said that he loves how strong-willed I am, so it's okay. Leave it to me. Of course, I'll need your help too. The women in my family are really scary. At this point, our family became one. Anyway, the top priority is to hold the wedding tomorrow without any problems, so the three of us started a strategy meeting. Whether that man is there or not, my daughter's happiness will not be shaken. In fact, I don't want people who can't congratulate her from the bottom of their hearts to attend. My husband is just a nuisance in a sacred space. I only told my brother-in-law that my husband canceled the wedding at the last minute and that he was cheating. He was more angry than me, saying that he would never forgive me for anything. Thank you for saying that. But brother, tomorrow's most important mission is to hold Misa's wedding safely. We discussed having a peaceful wedding. It seems that Takumi, who will become her daughter, had been consulting her about her father's affair for a while, and she was accommodating to the sudden cancellation the day before. I can't forgive my husband's sins even more, knowing that my daughter had told her fiancé such a pathetic story. And of course I can't forgive her friend. I wonder if it was from when we invited him to our house for dinner a few times. I knew that she liked traveling and went to many places, but I shudder to think that the souvenirs she brought back from Maru Maru might have been chosen by my husband. I decided to take the plunge and try to find out through line. Maybe it's because I still couldn't accept it after all this. Kazumi, I'm going to talk to you about staying at home today, but the transformation came immediately. I'm sorry, I'm out now. Is that so? With your husband? No, traveling with friends. I see, it looks like fun. I'm going for a walk at night now, so see you. Understood, I hope you enjoy it. That's how we exchanged messages. My anger multiplied tenfold at the nerve of him sending me messages that were the same as usual. My husband, my friend. Only a little time left to relax at the resort. Beautiful scenery doesn't suit you guys with hard hearts. I'll show you scenery that suits you better. Just wait. The next day, as I watched Misa walking down the aisle alone, various emotions welled up and tears overflowed. But along the way, my brother-in-law and Tadashi stood next to Misa with their faces all messed up with tears. Congratulations, Misa, you'll be happy. If you cheat on me again, I won't forgive you. The venue was filled with a wonderful atmosphere of tears and laughter. It's no joke to say that cheating won't be tolerated in this situation. I laughed when I heard it. The wedding was held without a hitch and the two became a married couple. Just as I was taking a breather, the newlywed Misaki couple came. They said they'll help too. Mom, I'll help too. I appreciate the sentiment, but I can't get you involved in our problems. What are you talking about? I'm your family from today. And I insist that even TAE Dad can't forgive anyone who hurts Misa. On top of that, the relatives gathered around, asking why he hadn't said anything even though he was my new father's father. I had no choice but to report that my husband is currently cheating on me with my friend in Okinawa. We were having fun at the resort, and we were suddenly put in the same position. From there, the conversation progressed and we all decided to go to Okinawa together, and a large-scale punitive force was formed. My husband's relatives were full of energy. I really wanted Taku and Misaki to go on honeymoon. If we go now, it will cost a lot to cancel in Hawaii, and we won't be able to go diving, which we were looking forward to. I kept persuading them to go to Hawaii because the uncles said they would come, but what are you saying? You didn't see me as a bride. There's no way I can forgive a father like that. Hawaii and Okinawa are connected by the sea, so it's fine. Taku-kun was nodding next to me. It seems that Misa has already made peace with her on the first day of their marriage. I've made up my mind. My plan was to go with a smaller group of people and question them, but if it's a larger group, that might be fine. I'll get revenge in a big way. You, who is now daughterless, asked the travel agency at your workplace to arrange a flight and hotel to Okinawa, and thanks to that, we were able to get the tickets even at the last minute. And we left for the airport early in the morning. On to Okinawa. My husband and I, the cheating woman or the Japanese, were a couple. We got on the first train of the morning and headed for Okinawa. On the way there, we were having a lot of fun, and I think that from the outside, it looked like a friendly family trip. But most of the conversation was about Takashi and other affairs, and it was not something that I would want to let other people hear. We arrived at the hotel where the two were staying just after 10 a.m. After seeing Kazu's SNS video, Taku immediately identified the hotel. This hotel is a popular spot that recently opened. The interior is different depending on the number of times, and there is a theme color. The color of the corridor is cobalt blue on the executive floor on the 7th floor. As expected of a travel agency employee. After hearing that, we also booked a room with a party room on the same 7th floor. It is the largest suite in the hotel, where relatives can stay together. I feel like I'm being sucked into the sky and the sea. Okinawa is really beautiful. I'm overwhelmed by the beautiful view from the window. After that, my energetic nephews went to the pool to swim. Then they found my husband and others by the poolside. They were watching from a little distance, so it seems that my nephew and I didn't even notice them. Well, maybe boys wearing swimsuits and playing with their smartphones through sunglasses all look the same if you stand a little distance away. They didn't notice me at all, so I'll go closer, and while commenting online, my nephews gradually became bolder and closer. You two are likely to become great Nagakata members in the future. The Nagakata members picked up the voices of the cheating couple. Takachin, I'm looking forward to your birthday dinner tonight. That's right. Kazupion always drinks too much, so be careful. Takachin and Kazupion. It seemed that my nephews had a hard time holding back their laughter. I'll pull you out of the pool right now and make you apologize to Riko-san and the others. My brother-in-law is still alive, saying that no matter how many times he kneels down, it's not enough, but let's ask him to be patient for a little longer. The husbands didn't think that their nephew was nearby and listening to what they were saying, and the child seemed to be looking at each other and talking to each other in a friendly manner. It was a birthday dinner. They were so carefree even though a relative's child was waiting on the same floor. The way they called him Takachin Kazupion only fueled my anger. I was planning to ambush them in the lounge, but I changed my plan. Let's make it a stealth operation so that the two of them don't notice until the last minute. I told the relatives the plan. We'll put off sightseeing until everything is over. Well, when you go on a trip with this many people, the travel and accommodation costs are quite high. Especially since it was right before. Still, I was moved by the feelings of the people around me who wanted to go with me. It's really strange why my husband has become such a cold-hearted person among such kind people. When I offered to pay for all the expenses, my mother-in-law refused. What are you talking about? I, as a mother, am also responsible for lending money after my death. That's right. I wish we had realized sooner. I'm sorry, Ri-chan. No, I didn't even realize that I was betrayed by both my husband and his friend. But don't worry about money. It's really okay. In fact, I have funds that I'm keeping secret from everyone. I can only earn as much as a part-time elementary school student, which my husband definitely thinks. I'm not a woman who can't go against my husband. I've had assets worth tens of millions of yen in my account for a long time. So I can manage travel expenses. It's not that I particularly wanted to keep it a secret. But since I got married, my husband has always looked down on me and kept my family a secret, so I decided that I would never tell him. Before I got married, I worked in the accounting department of a company that deals with application equipment and communication-related products. At the time, it was a small, modest company, but it was a business with a dream, and I loved the company. Shortly before I got married, the company went public, and I acquired about 1 million yen worth of stocks as a commemoration when I retired. I didn't do anything special after that. I just kept holding it, and the company became a great IT company, and my assets multiplied by several tens of times. And when I was at that company, there was a man in the sales department next to me who always had a gentle smile on his face. He always bought me coffee and snacks as gifts, saying that he was always causing me trouble with sudden expenses, and I remember him saying, "Congratulations. But I'm a little sad that you're getting married. I wish you happiness." I was also surprised when I got engaged, but that senior was a tough man and a father who raised his daughter alone. There are some interesting coincidences in the world. And then you, his son, married my daughter, and this time he took the initiative to arrange a trip to Okinawa, saying, "At times like this, please rely on me, the travel agency." I feel a strange bond between them. In any case, I was known for my foresight, and I was able to create assets. I had no eye for my husband or friends, though. That's why I have savings, so it's okay. Now is the time to spend it, so I took on all the travel expenses and the cancellation of the honeymoon. I feel a strange destiny that maybe it was funds that were increased to be used in this way. It was afternoon. I ordered a luxurious afternoon tea set for all my relatives from room service. Since I'm here, I'll join them. Tonight is a party for guests staying on the executive floor. It's finally dinner time. Guests staying on the executive floor can hold an anniversary ceremony every Sunday at dinner time. I'm sure they'll have a wonderful dinner party every Sunday. My birthday was yesterday, but I'll definitely be celebrated too. Yes, it's an after birthday, isn't it? I heard Takachin and Kazupian talking about how these things will become memories during the day, so we quickly made a reservation for the anniversary ceremony. The party venue is a garden restaurant that overlooks the sea at dusk, which is suitable for anniversaries. My husband and others were already seated at the venue, so I quietly called out to the hotel staff. Could you please talk to them for a bit? Actually, I've known them for a long time, but it's a bit complicated, so the staff smiled as if they understood and agreed. We will show you this way. He nodded and naturally guided us to a table a little behind us. The glasses from the first aid glass were lined up beautifully on the table, sparkling. The salt breeze and the sound of the waves were soothing. As dinner progressed, a staff member from Chike took the microphone. Today, we have guests celebrating a special anniversary. First, the couple over there. They are on a trip with a birthday guest and a loved one. With a big grin on his face, he hands over the glass. Kazu also smiles theatrically, saying that he is happy to be celebrated in such a wonderful place. The hotel gave us more Ryukyu glass glasses as a commemorative gift, and the other guests at the venue clapped their hands along with the staff's applause. Thank you. Kazu answered in a strangely exhausted voice. What are those cheating couples doing? Ah. It's embarrassing to watch. Everyone at our table muttered sarcasm in a low voice. And the conversation continued. There is another couple celebrating their anniversary. Congratulations to Misa-san, who just got married yesterday, and many others on their marriage. The soft performance of the strikeout began, and my daughter Mito stood up with a smile. She was so surprised that she stood up. Why are you here? Kato, who knew Misa, collapsed from his chair as if he had lost his balance. Misa, who received the microphone from the MC, declared to Takaka. Dad was on an affair trip and couldn't come to my wedding, right? That's why we all came. I continued to receive the microphone from Misaki. Your relatives who were scattered at the wedding. We heard that Takachin and Zupian were having a birthday dinner tonight while playing poolside, so we decided to join the party. Takachin and Zupian. The people around them started to giggle when they saw the two of them. You should apologize to Haruko and the others. I've never heard of a parent canceling their daughter's wedding at the last minute. The voices of my mother-in-law and brother-in-law started to make noise around us. How did you find out? I went to Tashi's table and showed them the photos on my smartphone. It's the photo of him wearing pink frilly shorts. This was on Kazu's SNS. With this evidence, he can't make excuses. Kazu tried to quietly leave his seat, but Tashi grabbed him. What's wrong with you? I paid for everything and brought you to this luxurious hotel, and now you're embarrassing me. Huh? What are you talking about? My picture is clearly on your SNS. You're always so careless. What are you talking about? At home, your wife Reiko is too strict and I can't tell her off. You always said that you like my carelessness. The two of them started arguing. Gradually the tension rose, and the hotel staff tried to calm the situation down by bullying them and taking them out of the venue. And so our plan was a great success. The next day, we all wore matching kariki wear and laughed a lot at the beach, at Shuri Castle Park, and at the market. Of course, Taku and Misa enjoyed scuba diving. The destination changed, but it was a great trip. They said they were happy to see the most beautiful seascape in the world. This visit was also known to my husband's company. He is a somewhat well-known face as a tourism event planner, and he had been working in Okinawa until recently, so the hotel gave him VIP treatment that day. My father and I talked heartily. It's so lame that he used his father's company's name to get special treatment. I agree. Well, it seems that's why the company found out, but it's funny. Kazu has no right to say that he's just chatting. He's really weak on the side. Of course, I divorced my husband. Rumors spread around the company, so they investigated his past business trips and found out that he had taken his affair partner on business trips many times. He seemed to think that he would be overlooked because of his contributions to the company, but he was easily transferred from his previous department, which was considered the flower of the company, to a behind-the-scenes department. He had always done a good job, and no boss or colleague was willing to pay him any attention. Although he has a respectable title as a general affairs manager, in reality, he seems to be the laughingstock of the car, managing the beautiful items every day with the part-time staff. He seems to be in bad health because he drinks alcohol every day. He once asked me to get back together with him, but of course I refused. I will never have anything to do with such a selfish person again. My friend Kazu was also presented with divorce papers by her husband, kicked out of the house, and is now staying at her parents' house. She lost her family and her job, and her parents are cold to her, but it's all her own fault, so it can't be helped. Even after separating from her husband, she keeps in contact with her mother-in-law and brother-in-law's family and keeps them updated on her situation. She hopes to see them again as before when things settle down. It wasn't a fun trip, but for some reason I laugh when I think about it. It was a trip that helped me get over it and get to where I am now because I said that. 3 years have passed since then, and Misaki and her husband had a child, and I became a grandmother. Misa and her family often visit their mother-in-law and brother-in-law's house and are loved by them. I am divorced from Moshi, but I still have a group photo of us all wearing Kariki-style clothing hanging on my desk. I have also been meeting Taku-kun's father frequently recently. I never would have thought that you would be at the police station. You are as beautiful as ever. Just like Taku-kun, you are a kind person with a smile and you still send kind words like you did before. Even a compliment like this makes me happy. You listened to our story about the Okinawa raid with a big laugh. I hope I can continue to walk side by side with him, who has a lot to talk about and is so tolerant. Life is interesting because you never know until the end. Let's keep walking and not give up.